Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to today's DADS, Not Always on Wrestling, the final episode of DADS for 2022. Jeff, where did the year go for real?
Disney.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean,
and what a way for the year to go, because as those of you who have tuned in the previous 2 weeks know,
yes.
We're counting down the top 10 Disney songs of each era.
Yes.
We've already discussed everything from 1928 to the year 2000, yes. And we're going to bring it home here with the year 2001 until 2022. The latest release, Strange World, is the last thing that qualifies for our lists.
Yes.
And joining us today, as we have had special guests through all these episodes, this is a very special guest for me to have on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, my daughter, Natalie.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, I'm getting my own applause. I'm special.
Yes, applause.
You
round
are.
Of applause, Natalie. Round of applause. There we go. Very good.
I mean, you know, Tweedledee to, your other half's Tweedledum, he's been on the show numerous times.
Yes.
Over the years, but this
Yes.
is actually really your debut.
Yes.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think you even popped up, except for maybe an audio form, crying
Right.
in any of the old episodes. Like, you
Yes.
never were a face on the show.
No.
Dylan, Jeff's son, of course, the other half, as I mentioned,
Yes, the Tweedles.
he's done a number of stuff. Wonder Twins Unite.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Lord.
So he's been on the show numerous times, whether it was After the Bell with Jeff Meacham, whether it was a Renegade of Wrestling, whether it was a DADS, Stat Boy Rants,
Yes.
Talk Wrestling, of course, Ringside Insanity. He's been all across the board. But lovely Natalie, who in just about a week, ladies and gentlemen, will turn 14 years old.
Ruh-roh.
You want to talk about where's the year gone? Where has that time gone?
Right?
Jeff?
Please. Well, 14 years, also Disney.
That's pretty accurate. A lot of
accurate.
it, which again is why we're here today and why she's here to join us, because these songs we're going to talk about this episode were kind of like the formation of her existence. Like, all these songs have been since pretty much she's been around.
Yes.
Yeah, there was about 8 years, 2001 to 2008, where she was not in existence, but from 2009 to now, she's been a part of that. And she grew up on a lot of the stuff that came both between the 2001 to 2008 and everything we've covered prior. She was introduced to the classics. She was introduced to the Renaissance. Hell, she saw The Great Mouse Detective before I saw it in full.
Properly educated, this girl. I love it. Another round of applause for that one.
I'm willing to throw myself under the bus here a little bit, but it is such a pleasure and a joy, sweetheart, to have you on the show.
Thank you.
I'm very much looking forward to getting into your list and seeing what songs you selected and hearing your reasons behind the songs you selected. But first, we have to go to the man whose name is on the marquee. The man, the myth, the legend, the West Coast professor, Jeff Meacham. Take it away, good sir.
And as we have qualified the last 2 weeks, here's the thing, kids. Buy the shirt. It's somewhere on the Meacham multiverse. I don't know what the hell it is at this point. I don't remember. Everything in Disney soundtrack lore counts, except for songs that were created for the purposes of use in the parks first.
Correct.
Which is why, when I was approached by our guest last week about Walker and Elimination USA, I was like, nope, not going to happen. And JJ will kibosh that in a hurry, because it was originally for the 25th anniversary of Disneyland. So,
correct.
Nope.
Correct. Although when I saw it on her list initially, because she sent it to me so that I could get images and everything, right. I was like, wow, you pulled that one out of thin air. That was a good selection, but
yes,
it didn't fall within the criteria, unfortunately.
We did give her the praise last week. She pulled some stuff out of it. Was like, all right.
Yeah.
I can get with that. It was good stuff. So
she went deep into the crates, much as Cece did the first show.
Yes. I've definitely felt like a very poor Disney fan and now cast member hearing both the ladies' picks the last 2 weeks. I'm probably going to get schooled again here in a few minutes once I'm done. But we'll see. We shall see. So, and for the record, I told the two of them off screen, I'm going to be a punk and cop out here, because this era of Disney soundtrack, other than the parks, because this era is when I've had my annual pass, and I was there all the time, and I'm a cast member, and I'm there all the time. So
I swear that first year where we were pass holders together, I feel like we were there at least once a week.
Sometimes more often than not more. Yeah. It was just
sometimes more than that, when they had special events or, it was the holiday season, but I feel like we were there just about once a week.
Yes. So the park music, background music, has become such a part of my life. And it's muted right now because copyright is a thing, kids. YouTube is not friendly with that, but
no,
it's constantly playing here in the office, like all the time. If it's right now, we just finished Christmas, hence the name today. So we're back on Actually, I take that back. I'm going to leave the holiday music on because we're still on that theme at work. So we're going to leave that the way it is until January, whatever it is, 11th or whatever. But park music being disqualified makes this era hard for me because I've still not seen a lot of the newer stuff, if you will. So I'm copping out. I'm being a punk. And I'm announcing my list in terms of chronological media release order. Boo earns. I know I'm a bad person.
You are, and we gave you
I didn't
crap
say
off
that.
screen for it, so you
Yes.
know. But we'll just go ahead and Roman Reigns style. We'll acknowledge it right now. But
yes. But I'm going to make it all better right here as we start because the first one is from 2002, and I know for a fact that somebody in the room, who's not always in the room with us, adores this particular movie. So, number 10, first one on my list, how about that, is North Pole from 2002. Now, what song is North Pole, Jeff, from Santa Claus 2, The Escape Clause? The opening scene with the plane. And the music you hear when they're trying, not Curtis doing, Santa Claus coming down, because we have to talk about Curtis because he's a punk too.
We had a whole diatribe a couple months ago about F. Curtis.
Yes.
I've heard.
Which I made sure that she went and watched because I know how much she co-signs on that.
Yes.
Team
Much as we
Bernard,
love Mr.
100%.
Yes. Much as we enjoy Mr. Breslin's work, F. Curtis. Anyway, but the scene, like the majestic stuff that you hear, the North Pole music, which actually technically debuted in the first one as they're lowering the sleigh into the North Pole, but it was made a proper soundtrack release on this one, which is why it counts. And I did find out they do play it in parks now, so I get a park pick anyway. I love it because if you're
But it originated from the movie. So
it started from the movie. That's why it counts. I think when you're walking through downtown, part of the multiple things they play in the Esplanade in downtown, which is kind of an eclectic group of stuff, they include this. I'm like, I know that. Santa Claus 2.
That's awesome.
But yeah, Santa Claus 2 and the music, people tend to hate on 2 more than 3, which I find very surprising because other than Marty Short, 3 is just kind of there for me. But the music throughout the entire saga, including the recently released series, which I think is done now or close to it.
As of air date, it should be done, yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how many weeks it was.
I was going to say, it's no secret to our fans. We do pre-tape. So as we are filming this on December 2nd, happy birthday, Pop.
Yes.
It still is running, but by the time this makes air, it will be over already.
Again, that's why I have the Santification. I'm very much sanctified as you're seeing, as we're taping this. I just don't have the beard on right now. Anyway, so yeah, the music throughout the whole journey of Scott Calvin is wonderful, but I love this song, and I knew it was on the soundtrack for Santa Claus 2, and it falls in the era we're going with. So,
awesome.
All right, now the third one, the next one is going to be one of those. Okay, which version of the song? Because they have about 25 versions throughout just the first movie in this series alone. But it's when you first hear it, when you hear the first notes, you know exactly what it is. It's the song from the closing moment with the good captain, and then the credits rolling in Curse of the Black Pearl from 2003. He's a pirate. It's like, it's a Pirates of the Caribbean song. It's not Yo Ho Pirates Life for me. It's really what it is now. Yeah, I mean, it's Johnny's version of that. Yeah, it's
at the end of the day, it's the only instantly recognizable song that isn't Yo Ho.
From the whole series, the whole movie series.
Yeah.
So much so that it's the first thing you hear when Captain Barbosa, tells Miss Swan, "Better believe Mr. Ghost Story, Miss Turner, you're in one," and the Black Pearl comes around during Fantasmic. That's the song that plays throughout that scene. So again,
as it should.
As it should. It's a big fight scene. It's a big action scene, and it makes for good credit music. Why not a good action scene, right? But yes, Curse of the Black Pearl and its indomitable star, Johnny Depp, who I had to remind people at work yesterday as we're taping this that he is so beloved that throughout all the drama that man has had in his personal life this year, where his wife pretty much shit the bed. Sorry, my bad.
Yes, we went there.
Yes. That the first showing of Fantasmic, which I was at, after that verdict went in, when he appears on the water screen, that crowd cheered like they'd seen Jesus. I was like, right on. That's right. That's right. Love the Johnny. Yes.
There you go.
And it was that song. This song is very much Captain Jack. You know, when you hear this song, you know Captain Jack's right around the corner, and it's wonderful. And
I will say, Captain Jack is probably my second favorite Johnny Depp character,
behind
Edward Scissorhands.
There you go. Which he's part of the family now too, isn't he? Didn't we buy that one too?
I think so.
I mean, it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I think that's Fox. So yeah,
we own the world, and it's okay. We love that, so it's all good.
We own the world. We own the children. Anyways.
Yes. We own the world. We'll charge your children adult prices. Anyway, it's accurate. If you're 10 up, you're screwed. Anyway, next one. I had to really fight in my brain for this one because I realized as I had my original third pick that it wasn't actually written for the movie. I was like, shoot. Because I wanted to use Rascal Flatts' version of Life is a Highway. And it's like, I think they released the soundtrack, which includes that number, before the movie. So I was like, because the song itself wasn't written for Cars. It was recorded years ago by somebody else. So
yeah, I mean, it's heavily covered.
Heavily covered, but this song, which also you hear in the parks, was introduced in the movie. McQueen and Sally.
Okay.
If you're not familiar with the track itself, those of you youngins at home, it's it's the one when you're first getting ready to spring and you start, making that curve around into the town. So I've always liked that song. I didn't realize it was in the movie because it had been so long since I'd seen the movie. When I went to Cars Land for the first time, I was like, this is pretty cool. And he goes, it's in the movie, dude. I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those, damn it, Ginger Boy. It's like, I know, it is what it is. But again, it's picks, and again, this was the time that our boss again, Bob Iger, yay, acknowledges that Pixar was more of a presence in our corporate family than the actual Disney characters were. So
agreed.
Cars was a big part of that, and the soundtrack to this movie, the first one especially, was just such a good mix of covered songs. Let's not kid ourselves, but also the actual soundtrack, the score is what they call it on the inside, kids. Is very well written, very majestic, and this one's a great example of that. So I love McQueen and Sally. I love hearing it when I'm on the ride. I love hearing it when I'm walking through Radiator Springs over at DCA. One of the things I actually like about DCA, and it's a cool little number. It's got a kind of like it's Cars' version of a romantic theme. Like every movie's got the romantic theme between the two.
The love theme.
Yeah, the love theme. Thank you. Anakin and Padme's love theme is notorious. And that was written for a Fox movie, so we can't use that. I'd like to, but we can't. So
you can almost you mentioned how at this point in time Pixar was a little bit more prominent than Disney characters. Yes. You can almost trace that all the way back to the beginning of feature films for Pixar and Toy Story in '95 versus Pocahontas.
Yep.
Because arguably, and I'm not trying to take anything from the lovely Pocahontas.
No.
That was the beginning of the decline of the Renaissance.
Yep.
Whereas Toy Story was the incline of Pixar. And I'd say, with the exception of A Bug's Life, which I've just never cared for personally.
Yes.
But you figure, okay, take that one out. You've got Toy Story, Toy Story 2, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, Cars. Like that little run just right there.
Yes.
You can't really argue that.
Yeah.
The Incredibles thrown in there,
I was going to
say.
Brave came a little bit later, but yeah, Brave, Ratatouille, Up.
Was Brave Pixar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Merida is the only Pixar princess.
She's from the other studio.
She's what?
She's from the other studio.
Yeah, that's the joke in Frozen 2. Or no, in Wreck-It Ralph 2.
In Wreck-It
excuse me.
Ralph.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember
He's
that.
from
You said
the
that
other
now.
studio.
Well, you know what? She's the only redhead on our princess cast, and she knew enough to get her and I in the shade for our picture. So I applaud Meredith.
What about Ariel?
That's true.
Gotta avoid that
Ariel's,
vitamin D.
Ariel's a ginger too.
Well, but she can't post her pictures when she's walking because more often than not, she's not walking someplace. She's either stationary on her legs in the Princess Hall or she's swimming. You know, like Doris.
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Yeah, just can't stop. But I love the Pixar soundtracks. I have another one on here. I will say that the theme for Monsters Inc. was an honorable mention because I love that the upbeat of it. It's cute. I love hearing it when I go to Mike and Sully to the rescue. So the next one for me is one that it's going to make JJ and I collectively shudder because we've been hearing it since 2006. God help us all. And it's going to make this one giggle because she knows what's coming. And it's going to make Dylan go, really, Dad, when he watches his back. But you know what? Darn it, he's the boss. I got to give him a little love today. It's the theme from the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Yeah, I mean, come on. They Are Giants took what has been an iconic, and this was number one on our first list for this particular group of shows for JJ because there are no two more iconic Disney soundtrack songs than the Mickey Mouse Club March, or the Mickey Mouse March, excuse me. God, I botched that. Please don't fire me, boss, if you're watching. And When You Wish Upon a Star, sung by every freaking buddy. But the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse really took the idea of having Mickey on our TV screens every day or every week and went, there's still a lot of legs up under the boss's feet, under the boss. Let's go ahead and see what we can get out there. And, you know, Wayne and the team, of course, you know, Wayne Allwine, Rusty Taylor, everybody, Bill Farmer kind of went back to work and off they went. And it's still going in some form. It's that Racers thing now. And then it became the Mickey Mouse Funhouse, which, you know, God bless Brett. He's still Brett Ivan, of course, now in the role of Mickey Mouse after Wayne's untimely passing, and everybody involved there. But our children were born either 2 or 3 years into this show's run, and it was a daily thing every day. And you know what? As very much driven toward that age group as it was and is, I still enjoy watching it with the kids whenever I'm babysitting, whatever the case may be. I enjoy that show. I enjoy that whole little original block. I'll tell you what. Them, Handy Manny, Doc, you know, everybody.
Oso.
Yeah, Special Agent Oso, who gets a bad rep. We gave him crud back in the day for taking Pooh Bear's spot as the resident bear. But you know what? Oso, I can dig Oso. I'm down with him. He's all right.
But Pooh took the spot of the Country Bears, so you know.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, hey.
And almost every Oso episode was James Bond themed in its name.
It's true. And but to be fair, Pooh took the Country Bear spot in the parks, and we're not talking about that today. But since we did bring it up, yeah, Pooh Bear, that's a bad Pooh Bear.
Shame on you.
Shame on you. You go to pick a thoughtful place. And you think about what you did. Tell you a little cubby all stuffed with fluff. Schmutz. Anyway. And plus, we had to shoehorn Santa into your spot because God forbid we give him a proper spot in the main park. You know. Anyway, I'm on one now. Now you did. I was in a good mood. I was talking about. Now you got me talking about the damn Bears. Anyway, I think if I remember the conversation right when they were talking about Clubhouse, it was like he's our franchise player and he's not doing anything. Like none of the Fab Five or the Sensational Six, because Daisy's part of this show, are doing anything right now. They're just kind of like they're in the parks, except Daisy, because we bring Daisy out when the people are starting to froth and like have withdrawals. But the other Fab Five are just park meet and greets. They're not actually on television. So let's throw it out there.
House of Mouse had kind of run its course.
Yeah.
As much as I enjoyed House of Mouse,
yes,
it was really kind of hit and miss for people. You know,
right?
The thought of Mickey basically running a nightclub,
where
everybody commingled, was just kind of odd to a lot of people,
right?
But so they basically evolved that into let's go back to what we know, the Mickey Mouse Club house.
There you go.
And just turned it into a new cartoon for another generation, and it worked.
I think House of Mouse would have been good post Roger Rabbit
Yeah.
if they had been able to agree with Warner more and get those get everybody in on a regular. Like kind of like I tried to do with Muppets Tonight. Once a week, Friday nights, just get everybody together for, happy hour and, a show.
Yeah.
That would have been a great time to do that. But, God forbid, Time Warner and Disney get along ever for more than a couple of days of filming. So not that I said that out loud or anything, because I am a member of the Walt Disney Company and I enjoy everything we do and everything we say. Okay. Unlike this next one, I enjoy the movie from the next selection, but there's somebody, or not in our circle as much nowadays, but she's still part of the circle in an extended
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Very well. I wish it was further away than 6 degrees. But anyway, the person I'm talking about despises this movie, and everybody else I know loves it, so I'm throwing it up there. That's how you know from Enchanted. Okay. People had their thoughts about the Enchanted franchise. Of course, Disenchanted came out this year, and I thought it was good, not great. Not gonna lie.
I still haven't seen it.
Got to see it, girl. Just to have a reference, because like I said, I enjoyed it, but not as much as I thought I would, considering how long I've waited for the sequel.
So wait a minute. I'm gonna bust your balls a little bit here, Meacham, because that's what we do on this show.
Of course.
You started the top of the show talking about you're not well versed in the modern day Disney movies.
Okay.
But you've seen Disenchanted, and correct me if I'm wrong, you also saw the Pinocchio that was released to Disney Plus earlier this year. Yes. But you're not well versed in the modern Disney.
So the balls will be busted, and that's fair.
I still haven't seen either of those.
Well, okay.
I haven't seen either of those yet either, but I'm also a lot more well versed in the modern Disney than this man's proclaiming to be.
The reason I saw both of those when they were released is because I have to go to a theater, pay $15 freaking dollars, even in making good money nowadays times. Like, I don't want to go sit in the theater and be around people. I have to be around people enough as it is 5 days a week and be, guest interact guy. I'd rather watch a movie on my own time. I watched Pinocchio when it came out because as much as this guy's become my guy, Pinocchio was my guy before that. And I wanted to see how I wanted to understand. I wanted to get my own perspective on Pinocchio because the critics had been very mixed. There were a lot of people they praised Tom Hanks because if you don't praise Tom Hanks, you get shot on this channel. But there is that. But they had gone a lot back and forth on the overall direction of the movie. I happen to like it. The ending was what it was for me, but I'll let you guys watch it and decide on yourselves. As far as the other one you mentioned, Disenchanted. Again, I've been waiting, what is it now? Almost over 15 years for a sequel. I wanted to see what happened. And I didn't watch a day of because I was at work. So it's, can't watch it at midnight like I do the other stuff. But let me retract my statement just because I got my balls busted. I am not very well versed in the things that were theatrically released worldwide, Disney. Digitally released globally, yeah, I'm all over those because
even though they're now free to watch on Disney Plus.
Oh my gosh, let the poor man be.
My shorts, Jay. Okay, and by the way, we own them too
on Dad's episodes.
That's right. That's right.
Because as soon as we turn around and I start doing mine, I know I'm going to hear some of it from him too. So
absolutely,
now I'm here, so now I can get on you too.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Yes. We're both playing the role of Uncle Mikey today, busting everybody's balls, so it's all good. Because Mikey can't bust balls, but he sure does get his busted on the regular. So
there you go.
By the way, it's Ronald Statboy Sports Bar, was produced by one of us. It depends what my schedule is. We don't even know my schedule is for the 27th.
We love you, Statboy.
We do love you very much. Yes. All right. Anyway, Enchanted. That's how you know. People have their thoughts about the Enchanted franchise. Oh, it was a parody, and you know what? It was the whole point. Yeah. They were admitting it was a parody of every princess story the company had ever done.
And they even got a lot of the previous princesses in the movie.
Both Paige O'Hara and Jodie Benson are in it. And
Judy Kuhn.
Yeah, I mean, Paige is in a cameo. If you blink, you miss her. But Jodie's
also in it.
Who is it?
Judy Kuhn.
Pocahontas.
Oh, that's right. See, poor Pocahontas gets such a bad rep because it's so historically crap.
Inaccurate.
So. Yeah. Inaccurate would have been a better word for me to say than crap, but I went with crap because that's how I feel about it. Good movie, but historically it's garbage. Just so bad. That's what. Okay. Mosca Mafia, not watch. That's one of the worst glosses we've ever done in the history of the company. My God, did we romanticize that nonsense? Anyway, but Enchanted, I think people didn't know what to expect from Amy Adams. She was kind of an unknown when she was cast as Giselle, and man, she knocked it out of the park with this song in particular.
I agree wholeheartedly. I fell in love with Amy Adams because of this movie and this song.
I mean, this movie was great for me. I think Julie and Julia was around the same time. That one was actually pretty well done too. She had to play Lois Lane, which we all know me and the Boy Scout, so that was awesome. Even though that movie is still playing now, almost 10 years later, because it's that long. Lord Almighty. And no, I'm not talking about Justice League. I'm talking about Man of Steel. That was a long movie. But Amy really made her presence known. The one, and I will say, one drawback to this movie's soundtrack that the other one made up for, Idina Menzel does not sing in the first movie. You have a Broadway star who was one of the more prominent members of the cast of Rent, who was the lead in Wicked. And we're going to have
Aaron Lore.
What's that?
We're throwing that information out here now. Married Aaron Lore.
And we're not going to ever sing. We're going to have Kevin Dempsey sing.
Arguably, she was the toast of Broadway at the time.
Oh, my God.
And you didn't want her to sing in the Disney movie.
You figure Wicked was still cooking with gas in 2007.
Yeah.
She wasn't on the cast anymore because it had evolved into so many different spin-off traveling tours. But, man, Wicked was a lot of people's jams who love Wizard of Oz. So. Oh, yeah. So to have her be the only main player of that cast to not sing, Jason, I always forget, mixed it up. James Marsden, not Jason Marsden, because Jason Marsden is always the sidekick guy. James Marsden, Cyclops, sings in this movie. Patrick Dempsey sings this movie, for Christ's sakes. You got McDreamy singing, but not Idina Menzel. It always has irritated me to this day. So, yeah. But Disenchanted, it's in the trailer. It's not a spoiler. She sings, so good job, Disney. All right, the next one, I'm pretty sure we all saw together, if not, or at least close to the same time together, because it was released when both Chittens was still young. But I believe we were all fans, or at least fans because our kids were fans of the TV series that spun the movie off. And the song is not sung by the titular character, but by her alter ego. The Climb from 2009's Hannah Montana. It's either the movie or movie, or whatever the hell they phrased it. This is one of those, all right, we've had Miley do these cute little pop songs for a year or two. We need her to get a breakout song. And man, she took this all over the talk show circuit. She went everywhere with this song. And it was, as we say on our Saturday night shows, a banger. Because it was that good. And it was one of the first ones that they really, like, before she decided she didn't want to be a Disney kid no more and probably lost her damn mind for a while there. One of the songs, the company went, okay, you do this one because this works for you. And damn it did.
Yeah. I enjoyed the Hannah series, but I was never much of a fan of Miley the musician.
Right.
She had a couple of songs that I could get behind and be like, okay, these don't make my eardrums bleed, so I can listen to these. This song was her home run.
Exactly.
This song really showed off her vocal range to a point where I was like, okay, I can deal with this song.
Right.
And it's such an inspirational message behind it too. It's something that everybody needs to listen to, acknowledge, and just take note of, because there's always going to be another mountain. There's always going to be another obstacle in your way. And it's all about overcoming. It's all about the journey, the climb
exactly
to the top of the mountain.
Yep. yeah, Jay, you lacked great proxy in my inability to do so. The climb was just her launching point into being able to evolve beyond Hannah, and she did a great job. So much so that by the time she was done evolving, like people forgot about Hannah to a certain extent because she had gone so far away from that. But this song kind of stayed within, Good Girl Miley era, and it was such a power, like you said, life is a journey. Life is about that climb. It's so powerful. So I thoroughly enjoyed this song when I heard it in the movie. I did have it in my rotation for a while in the office because it was that good.
Absolutely.
All right. The next one, Natalie, is one I was talking about that we all loved it first, and then I realized that you were annoyed with it.
Oh, no.
Because there was one of the many trips Dylan and I took to see Natalie and the family out at, I think that you guys were in Diamond Bar at this point. And you were waiting for us at the train station. And windows were rolled up for a moment. And then as we came down the platform, the car pulled in with your stepdad, and he is belting at the top of his lungs, very un-Adina-like, to Let It Go. I caught this chair. Yes. All right. Talk about elephant in the room. Let's not talk about Bruno. Let's just get this shit over with.
Let me just stop you right here real quick and say, I knew you were going to have this on your list, which is why it is not on mine, although it was one of the 24 I had in contention. Continue.
See, it's not a matter of fact that I don't like the song itself. It's a wonderful song, and I know it makes a certain someone, which I'm not going to name names, cry. But I just feel like it's really overplayed.
Absolutely. I will concede the fact that it is definitely overplayed.
Yes, especially in 2013. I heard this song, I think, 25 times before I actually saw the movie. Like,
Same.
for real. And I only saw the movie because of your dad showing me in the redesigned Casa. And I had to be prevented from kicking the TV screen in because of that traitorous son of B. Hans. When that moment hit, I was homicidal. You don't understand what was happening.
Heel turn heard round the world.
Man, like, I don't think even I was that mad at Hogan. Like,
the last time I saw a heel turn that good, Marty Jannetty was flying through the barbershop window.
That coward. Anyway.
Honestly, I feel like Hans's betrayal was almost up there with Ernesto de la Cruz. Because I myself didn't see that coming. Then again, I don't really tend to, like, when I watch a movie, I don't make it my purpose to look out for stuff like that.
Right.
Like, I'm going to watch a movie and watch the movie and not look at every little detail and try.
You get caught up in the story like you're supposed to, which is why a turn like Hans's catches so many people off guard, because 30 minutes prior, they're singing Love is an Open Door together.
They're
finishing each other's sandwiches.
Right? Yeah.
They look like they're so perfect for each other.
Yeah.
And then that moment, and he reaches out to her, "Oh, Anna, if only somebody loved you." And you're like, what? Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. We found out later, Natalie, that the landlord got called because they thought somebody had been hurt in the apartment. I screamed so loud. What?
And everybody that I showed that movie to had that same reaction the first time.
Yeah. It was
but going back to what you mentioned about hearing the song 25 times before ever seeing the movie.
Yes.
I'll go ahead and bust myself out. I am the one that cries to this song. Because and it's all because when I first heard the soundtrack those 25 times, much like Jeff, because Natalie had the CD in her mom's car and played the ever-living crap out of it.
Guilty as charged.
To take a phrase from the great Bill Engvall, I was about ready to bop that thing into the garbage disposal. But you listen to the soundtrack and you're hearing everything as it comes in the movie, and you hear Let It Go, and it's just like this big, powerful moment of a song. But you don't realize how powerful of a moment it is until you sit down and you watch the movie. and you look at everything that not just Anna has gone through with being separated from her sister and being secluded, and do you want to build a snowman because she's being avoided by her sister, which when you're just listening to the soundtrack and you haven't seen the movie, that song is just gut-wrenching and heartbreaking.
Right.
But then you get to actually watch the movie and you realize why Elsa is at this place singing this song.
Yeah.
You know, we used to joke about it around the casa. You could just change the song from Let It Go to Fuck It All.
Right. Really.
Because that's basically what she's saying, you know. The cold never bothered me. I'm fine with who I am.
Yeah.
It's all the y'all that got a problem with it.
Yeah. It's the world that's got a problem with me, not me. So, yeah. F It All became such a thing. It became the most popular meme of the year. You know.
So that is why it hits me in the feels.
It does.
Going back and watching it, because Elsa never wanted to be separated from Anna either.
No.
And the only people that kept her shielded from it died.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why.
Or so they did, depending on if you believe the Disney theories, you know.
Yes.
Some people believe they washed up on an island, gave birth to Tarzan, and, you know, they've got brother out there in the world somewhere.
Yes.
But that's a whole other can of worms, whole other rabbit hole down that we'd have to go down for that one.
Yes.
Right.
But
yeah,
that's why it hits so hard.
Yeah, and I thought she meant me when she talked about the crime thing.
She's totally busting my balls. But the great thing about it is that she used to do that to me on a regular and just give me all kinds of massive crap about it when I'd sit there crying at a movie.
Right.
Now she cries at movies.
Now she understands.
And I'm like, now you get how I feel.
Yes.
You're starting to get to that age where you watch a certain movie and for whatever reason, whether it's a character, a moment in the story, some connection to real life, it sits with you and it hits you in such a way that you just break.
Cough, cough, Mighty Ducks. Cough, cough.
Oh, Lord. We start on the Ducks. Lord. Yeah. With age and experience, my friend, comes wisdom, unfortunately.
Exactly.
So it is what it is there. And having said that, the next song on my list, which we're at number 8 out of 10 altogether here. Like I said, I'm not going in 10-1 because I'm copying out, not being a punk about it. This one was actually written for a movie that was released for the prior episode we did. Okay. However, the lyrics were reworded enough where I could include it here.
Fair.
And I actually like this version better. And I say that this is a live action adaptation of one of the greatest of all time, for the record. I don't know. This song, I think, hits me more in the feels, as we said about the previous song, because of the character that the lyrics change for in the movie. Because in the animated movie, he doesn't have lyrics in the song I'm going to mention. In 2017's live action version, LeFou very much has a different approach in the mob song in particular, because it's during this point that LeFou is finally getting it. Like, this guy's a bastard. Like, I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
You know, but I fear the wrong monster's release, and it's like, dude, he gets it now. He understands that this is not the right path. Whereas in the animated movie, he's a bumbling, stumbling idiot throughout, and they don't give him that chance for redemption. You can't have Josh Gad in a live action movie and not give him some sort of arc, because Josh Gad is just too damn good.
Josh Gad is the reason I paid money for this.
Right? Exactly.
I wanted to see him sing Gaston.
Yes.
That literally was my driving force to going to see this movie, was Josh Gad. Why? Because we go back to the last song.
Yeah.
And we go back to Frozen. We go to him as Olaf.
Yep.
Which, even though I had already seen him in 21 and not known that I had seen him in 21,
right,
Olaf was how I discovered him.
Yeah.
And became a huge fan of him. So when this came out,
yes,
I'm like, I have to see Josh Gad in a live action movie.
Yeah.
And he's LeFou, so he gets to sing the villain song, Gaston.
Right.
Yep.
But yeah, him singing Gaston is hysterical because the lyrics changing for him, it's just, I realize I'm a lyric, never had to spell it out before. It's like, oh, gee, it's so funny. Like, him and Luke Evans were such a good duo. So much so they had them sing on the family sing-along during the pandemic. That's how good they were together.
And Luke Evans is just a bastard all the way around anyway. I don't think I've ever seen a movie where he was a good guy.
Right.
He's even one of the most recent Ebenezer Scrooges in the Netflix animated Christmas Carol that just came out.
Is. Yeah, Luke Evans is one of those. He's such a good-looking dude, a charming dude, but he plays a villain like very few other can. He's solid at that. But
he has to do Prince Hans if they do a live-action Frozen.
Right, seriously.
Because he's, like you said, he's decent-looking enough. He's got that look where you can understand a woman falling in love with him at first sight.
Yes.
He's charming, but then he's got that dastardly side.
Yeah.
And we know he can sing, so he can do Love is an Open Door with Anna and make everybody believe that he's this goody-goody.
Yes.
But we also know what a dastardly prick he is, so when he flicks that switch,
it's all over.
Yeah. But the mod song in the live action one, granted, the one in 91 is powerful. And Gaston sells that thing like a used car salesman. So good. But man, it hits harder here.
I agree.
Because
because of the line that you said. Give it to him one more time.
Yeah. The line is they're going into a bridge and LeFou goes, "There's a beast running wild, there's no question, but I fear the wrong monsters released." Monster apostrophe S. Meaning, Beast is the one that's holed up in the castle being ready to be struck, but Gaston is the real monster that's running wild. And it's that moment that LeFou, brother, yeah, thank you for that. Didn't even go there in my head. That's how focused I am on the mouse. But I appreciate you. Because you're not a Hulkamaniac, and we all know this. So that's the moment that LeFou gets it. And it's like, nope, not going to do this anymore. And that was one of the many facets of the live action movie that really, because I was fearful of live action, because a lot of the ones they translated from the classics and the Renaissance, it was like, yeah, but this one, other than, and again, it is what it is now, over 5 years later, but they cast a Brit to play Belle. Okay, big deal. Emma ended up being a pretty good singer for who she is and who she will always be to all of us, right? But, she'll always be a wizard before she's anything else in the history of her life ever. But she stepped into a situation that could have been really quicksand-y and ended up coming out pretty much smelling like a rose. The supporting cast of this movie kicks all the ass.
Yeah.
And Luke and Josh here in particular on this song. Damn,
Absolutely.
It was good. Much better than the animated version, with all due respect to everybody involved with the animated feature. This next one, my second to last one, is only second to last because of chronologically, not because of the amazing song quality of this song. Another one that comes from a live-action adaptation of one of the best ever. And if memory serves, there was a song included for the animated version of this character in the animated movie, but never actually recorded. The Broadway play and the play we got to see at DCA gives her own solo. The Gilded Cage song. I forget what the name of the song is, so forgive me. But in 2019, Jasmine was able to belt out Speechless. And this is Disney going, okay. Jasmine was a pivotal part of Aladdin, but she really didn't have the moment other than Whole New World, and that was both of theirs.
She only came in about halfway.
Yeah. This is Jasmine's fight song in this movie. This is like, no. You're not, Jafar's not getting away with this. They're not, this is my kingdom. And this is the moment that every Disney princess and Disney princess fan was like, yeah, so there. It was, Amazing. This one I saw in the theaters, and I loved it. It was because it was actually the year before we had to not be in theaters for a while. And it like the whole theater was just like, that's right. Screw that asshole. Yeah, it was powerful. And
I remember when I first saw the live action, and Dad was the one that actually had to show it to me because I was really skeptical about it.
Right?
I was like, I don't know if I want to see it because I mean, like the original has Robin Williams.
I was going to say, you have a particular problem where you stay because Uncle Rob is such a genie person that it was like, I don't know if I want to betray the family, but you know what?
Right?
Much like Emma Watson, Will Smith stepped into a situation that could have been really bad. And rather than try to be similar, he's like, no, it's got to be me. And he knocked it out of the park. He really did. And your dad and I talk about this a lot. People condemned Jared Leto before they saw Suicide Squad. He actually did a really good job considering how many fantastic Jokers there have been over the years. The genie in the Aladdin Disney series has had a very tumultuous relationship with the company. Let's not kid ourselves. Once the first one was made and the whole thing with Robin went down, and I can never say Dan's last name right. Jay, help me out here. Voice Homer Simpson.
I always say Castanella, but I know that's not accurate either.
Yeah,
close enough.
Dan C.
Homer Simpson.
Yeah. He's again stepped into a shitty situation and returns your forest.
What it was.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's not either. It is what it is. Will Smith had to not only play a live action genie, but they gave the genie a backstory, which usually is dangerous, right, Jim Carrey? Grinch. But again, it worked.
Mm-hmm.
But this song for Jasmine, giving Jasmine her fight song was like, that's right. Every other Disney animated classic is usually based around the princess, and they get their big song, you know. Jasmine didn't get that because it wasn't about her. It was about Aladdin and Genie in the animated movie. But this one very much was about everybody. And they gave Jasmine her moment. I thought that was so cool. All right. Last one for me is legitimately just a musical piece. There are no lyrics to this whatsoever. And it is the most recent release, hence the chronological decision I made. But it's one of those that we've all kind of known the stories for years. We've all kind of had a mild look at the inside baseball. But when Disney Plus was launched in 2019, one of the things that immediately made me want to hit that subscribe button, as we encourage you all to do at home, by the way, if you're watching this, hit that like, subscribe button, get that bell going so you can hear when we come on live, because we need views. This guy needs to get monetized. For the love of God, we've got less than a week to go before the end of the year. The Imagineering story was one of my, I get to hear the stories. And Overture to Imagineering, that theme song that plays as Angela Bassett stops talking for a few seconds and this is the intro to whatever era of Imagineering we're in. It's like, all right, we get to hear more stories. And if Disney is about nothing else, money making, greed, whatever, they're about storytelling. And the story of Imagineering is the story of where I stay now. Because it's the parks. It's the parks people. And thanks to a certain person who lives across the hall, I've heard a lot of the Imagineering stories over the years. But this was the company going, all right, we're going to open this door and let you all have a peek for a while. And I truly, I'm getting emotional, sorry. I think this, combined with going to the park on its birthday this year, really made my decision in my brain that I need to be here. So this show, this song, and being at the park on its anniversary this year is the reason I'm a cast member. And I felt that this song needed to have a little bit of love here as I round out my list. So
there you go. Very well done, sir.
Under an hour. I'm proud of myself.
Well done, sir. A hell of a list. I will go as far as to say here before I click over in the studio so I can access my daughter's songs.
Yes.
We do have one in common between me and you.
Okay.
None between you and Natalie.
Oh, wow.
The one between me and you. And then two of yours were in heavy contention on my list. Let It Go, as I already mentioned, and That's How You Know.
So you said you and
Those are
Natalie no
both-
longer share.
Correct.
So
So we're getting 29 different songs.
Much like the first week. I love it. See?
Yeah.
We are educating the folks at home. We're giving the Disney lore, paying that stuff forward. We keep moving forward, right, Walt?
That's right.
We might not have any exact songs in common, but we do definitely have a few movies and shows in common.
Yes.
But
as we knew that would probably be a thing.
Yes.
Well, yeah, there wasn't a lot of options, as we may have found out. But
well, you figure we gave CC almost over 45 years, 60, almost 45 years. We gave your mom a good solid 30. So it's like, we kind of pigeonholed you into 22. So,
but the funny thing is that, at least for me, I won't speak for Natalie, when I went through and I made my initial lists that I then had to whittle down from,
right,
this era, despite only being 22 years, had the most songs for me to pick from.
That's fair.
I had 24 songs from this era, 20 from the previous, and only like 17 from the initial era where there was like 40 something years to choose from.
There you go.
So
it's
all about it's all about your likes, your dislikes, your preferences, your subjectivity. And I even had to remind her of some stuff that was up there that she could do, because when she first came to me, all her stuff was animated movies.
Oh,
there were a couple Disney Channel original movies that were live action.
Right.
But it was pretty much all movies.
Okay.
And then I was like,
right.
Did you even think about these? And I started rattling off shows from her childhood that were up for grabs, and she was like, those are options? I was like, yeah, they all fall within the time frame. She was like, just a minute.
I had to redo my
off
entire
like
list.
3 of her entries and reinserted them with some stuff from shows because she had completely forgotten about things.
Yeah.
I mean, for the longest time when I was younger, I was more of a TV show kind of a person.
Yes.
Disney Junior existed.
Yeah, the blocks, like we were talking about in the beginning. You had Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, you had Handy Manny, Oso, Sophia, Imagination Movers.
Henry
Oh my God, I forgot about the Movers.
Really
Jeez,
one that
wow.
is really
coming a little bit later, and you had Elena of Avalor and Doc McStuffins and my friends Tigger
Handy
and
Manny.
Pooh.
Yeah, Handy Manny, yeah. So
there was so much good stuff in those blocks back in the day. And then she even had the ability, because me and my DVDs, she saw Bear in the Big Blue House and those type of things. We found old reruns of Roly Poly Oly and Stanley and JoJo's Circus.
Right?
There was so much up for grabs that she just didn't even think about at first, that we were like, we told her about these and she's like, okay, give me a few minutes. Have to revise the list.
Yes. Natalie goes so far. Oh, go ahead.
I will say that I didn't know if Pixar was allowed because it was Disney songs.
Right.
And when you think Disney, you usually think, like Walt Disney Productions, not Pixar.
Animated Studios. Yes.
So I have no Pixar songs on my list.
Oh, there you go. I will say this before she gets too far in. Natalie and I go back so far with our Disney mutual love that to this day, sitting right here on the desk next to me.
Oh, wow.
Is this guy. Part of that little set I got you when you were little. So, yeah, he's always right here watching over, making sure the magic's going through the place. All with the sets of stuff over there that's all over my dresser. He sits right here all the time. But I'm looking forward to this because the fact that we have only one similar song, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so my number 10, unlike you, Uncle Jeff, mine is in order.
Okay.
Not based off of years.
So I got balls busted for no reason. Okay.
Not on purpose. I just wanted to make that known.
Got it.
But I do not know a lot of the years when these came out off top of my head. So, number 10 is one that I said we do share a show in common, Uncle Jeff, but not a song. because this is from a special that is very, very well known around this household. It was known, really, really known around you guys, because I would watch it all the time.
Uh-oh.
And it is what I call Cuckoo Clock song from Wonderland.
Nice.
Tick tock, tick tock. We have it's the cuckoo clock.
That song, it not only sits really close to my heart, you know, but it does get stuck in your head. And it's one of those that once you hear it, you'll be going throughout your day just singing it in your head.
So much so that when your dad and I would go to the parks around the time the episode dropped, or at least dropped in our house, and we would like be randomly around the parks, Mickey and Donald would give us looks like, stop that. Because
they know what's up. They know what's up.
The psychosis behind it. They got it.
But yeah.
The evil queen legit wanted to give us poison apples.
Besides just lamenting Dylan's existence being back in the park, she's like, oh God, they're all back. Oh God, oh no.
But yeah, that is my number 10.
Love it.
For not only nostalgia purposes, but like I said, it is one of those that I find really nostalgic for me.
Absolutely.
And how can you not love that song?
It's one of those. There were so many good, solid moments throughout Clubhouse's initial run that
There
you know,
was.
and you figure Clubhouse was the last major thing that Wayne worked on, that Russi was part of for the entire run. So it's very much connected to our childhood fandom, and then raising our kids on that show. It's very much part of our world, as Ariel would say, and always will be because of that.
Yeah. For me, when it comes to the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, like aside from the theme song and the hot dog dance, obviously, I always come back to either this or the pieces of the clubhouse look a lot like Mickey Mouse.
Stop. I almost put that instead of the Cuckoo Clock song.
Which would have been perfectly fine. But those are ones I had to remind her about. Just a little example of things that fell into her turf there that she could claim.
Yep.
And the fact that she went ahead and put this, as crazy as this song drives her, like I almost put this up on like Scary Teddy levels as far as Disney things that drive her crazy.
Don't bring him into this.
So that was the last era. But you know.
So, know how much holiday then this year, sweetheart?
Huh?
No, go to how much holiday then when we go in a couple weeks?
No.
She'll wait at the exit for you.
I will.
Who earns?
I will go in it just for the smell of gingerbread, but I will close my eyes.
Yeah, you have to. Again, we're taping this in advance, kids. Duh. You guys at Gingerbread House this year. Oh my damn. JJ knows, he saw it.
I haven't seen it, so I'm very excited.
Don't spoil it. Oh my God. Anyway.
I won't.
Okay. So yeah, that is my number 10. My number 9. This one I would not say was forced, because it really wasn't. I love this song. It's probably my favorite song from the whole movie. And when I was younger, this movie was really kind of like mandatory for me to see, seeing how, you know, who my dad is.
Yeah.
I don't know direction with the camera.
We're learning. It's learning curve.
I'm trying.
Yes.
But
now I'm curious.
Okay, so like I said, this movie was really mandatory for me to see. And this movie has stuck with me ever since I first saw it. And
as it should.
Oh.
And
okay, I know. Go ahead. It's okay.
It is from the Country Bear movie, and it is Kid and You.
Absolutely.
It is a really, what's the word I'm looking for? It's that song that kind of gives you that sense of nostalgia.
Right.
And the movie is really underrated. I'm saying that now. Dad has said it multiple times. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about that one. Unless you guys have something to say about it.
Which I'm sure Dad has that. Yeah,
I'll get a little bit more in depth with the Country Bears when it gets to my list, because spoiler alert, can't have a list with me and not have the Country Bears somewhere on it. But,
of course.
But yeah, I mean, you jest about how it's mandatory viewing from me. Like, the Country Bears are my all-time favorite Disney attraction. It's no secret.
No.
It's
It really
been
is
well
good.
documented amongst multiple shows.
Yes.
So the fact that there was a movie about it, and I honestly didn't even see it when it first came out. I
No.
didn't get introduced to it till many years later with your mom. And she was hesitant to introduce it to me because of how much I adored the attraction.
Yep.
And there's a lot of negative talk, like you said, about this movie, but I immediately fell in love with it.
Right.
And
Who
again,
doesn't?
I'll go more in depth in it when we get to it on my list. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I had to give my love of Country Bears somewhere in my list.
Absolutely.
So even if it is 9th, it's still getting its love.
It's all good. It's all good.
So that being said, my number 8,
Yes.
going back to the nostalgia for me and Disney Junior.
Oh.
Dad gives me so much crap for who my favorite characters are in Disney Junior shows.
Oh.
Because he's like, you always like the bratty kids. You always like the kids that are like this total, I don't know if I can say the word on the air, but this total bitch to the main
You're good,
character.
you're good.
But at the end of the day, a lot of those characters have those character arcs that make them not be so bad.
Yes.
Like this character who sings my favorite song from the show. And the show is Sophia the First.
Oh.
Bigger is Better.
Yep.
It is such an iconic song,
It
guys.
is.
Like, anybody who has seen and devoted themselves to Sophia the First
Yes.
knows how important this song is in the fandom. And even the slight little comment at the end of the song where Sophia still doesn't get the point
Right.
of saying how, you shouldn't go with the little things. You should go, go big or go home.
Right.
It's such a good song.
It is.
How can you give me this kind of crap for a character that has such a big arc like Amber?
Well,
Because you have to keep in mind that, okay, so Sophia started a little bit later than the other ones that we talk about and we hold dear
Yeah.
to our heart.
right.
So I didn't get to see every episode as it came to really get the storyline arc of Amber.
Yes.
You see her in the beginning, and as you first are meeting her, she is this, excuse the pun, royal bitch.
Yeah, she's a snooty little snot. It's terrible. So,
And her character may arc and develop and get redeemed as you get deeper into the series,
right.
but first impressions are a muckerfutter.
Yes. Yes.
And then you look at that, and then you compare her to some of your other favorite characters. And you look at Lucy from Peanuts. You look at Veruca from the Chocolate Factory. And it's like, I'm sensing a theme here, but I don't want to sense this theme in my little girl. She likes all the bratty queen bees.
Yes. Come back to the light side.
And as a father, you don't want your little girl to
Of course not.
look up to the bratty queen bees. You want her to look up to the good girls.
Yes.
You want her to look up to Sophia.
We
You want
realize
her
the
to
dark
look
side
up
has
to
something to say.
Charlie. Granted, there's not really a good girl in the Chocolate Factory because both Veruca and Violet were both,
Yeah.
But you want her to look up to Charlie. You want her to look up to Sally
Yes.
instead of Lucy.
Yes.
You want her to look up to these more innocent, pure characters as opposed to the queen bees. Now, yes, the villains have more fun. We've established that again multiple times throughout our times on the show. So I can also understand why the bratty characters or the villains may be a little bit more fun to watch and get into, because without a good villain, without a good person to bounce off of, a good bad guy,
Yep.
the hero has no quest, no journey.
Yes.
They can't truly live up to their expectations.
Stories are not driven by protagonists, they're driven by the antagonist. JR said that years ago, and it rings true. It really does. I will say this. When I talk about liking the good guys versus the bad guys, I take two properties that we own anyway. I realize that villains never get a happy ending, but we have cookies. So.
And they do have arguably some of the best songs. Villains
get great songs, man. I'm surprised I didn't have more villain songs on any of my list, because we all know my affinity for Scar's song, which was discussed last week. But the villains usually get the really good songs, and like I said, there is no story without an antagonist to drive the plot home. So it's they do get their stuff, and Amber. I mean, granted, it's a Disney Junior show, so she's not really a villain in and of herself, but she's definitely got that attitude. You just want to go, you know what? It's enough out of you. Move on with your day. Push. So, but a great song. Definitely one of the first songs on Sophia's discography that really is a good, solid hit.
It really is.
There was always a joke. I forget if Wayne Brady was actually playing himself or a different character on Chappelle's Show, but there was always a joke with Wayne Brady. Is Wayne Brady got a choka-bee? And since he was the voice of Clover the Rabbit in this, I was always waiting for him to be like, does Clover Rabbit got a choka princess? Just to make that subtle little joke that the parents are going to be like, I understand that reference. And the kids are going to be like, Daddy, why are you laughing so hard?
I can't explain it. I'm going to pee. I'll explain when you're older, which is the most common thread in the history of parenting, but
Yeah. But yeah, gotta give my love to Amber in some way.
That's fair. I will admit that as time went on and I did see more of the episodes, Amber did grow on me a little bit, and I did realize that she wasn't as bitchy as I first thought.
She was only really bitchy in the first one, and she had a very valid reason.
Oh, yeah.
But then again, that's just common sibling rivalry, especially for royals. That just makes it worse.
Blended families are always complicated. When you get into royal blended families, man, it gets a whole other hierarchy of hell. So,
yeah.
Fair.
So, yes, that is my number 8. My number 7 is another one of those mandatory songs.
Okay.
Because, once again, going back to my dad, you know how much of a crazy fanatic he is of these movies and characters. So me not having one of these songs on my list.
Oh, jeez.
We have to have some Muppet song in here somewhere. And
there's Amy. There she is. There you go. Yeah.
Amy Adams, once again, just on a different list in a different movie. But, yeah, this song is really catchy. It's one of those that you can't help but kind of, dance along to.
Yes.
Especially when she has her own little moment in the diner, which we've been to.
Yes, we have.
You guys have, that's true.
But yeah, we always have to have that kind of moment when you're listening to that song where you feel like you're in her shoes.
Yeah, it's sad. When you really break the song and the lyrics down, it's like she's feeling like the love of her life's rejecting her for a bunch of freaking puppets. It's like, what the shit's going on? Like, that's valid.
It is. It
at
really
the end
is
of the
valid.
day, at that particular moment in the movie, and the song we're discussing is Me Party from the Muppets. But at that particular moment in the movie, Mary really was believing that Gary was living the whole bros before hoes lifestyle.
Yeah, for real.
Because Walter is his brother, and he's putting him first over the woman that he eventually proposes to. Spoiler alert! Even though it's an 11-year-old movie, at the end of the film,
Right. Is Muppet? Oh my God, it is.
Yeah,
wow,
the 2011 Muppets movie.
I feel old.
Right? Shush.
Welcome to our world.
Seriously. You try to 14 next week. Hush with this old talk. Quiet, you.
Seriously, we do shows on a weekly open mic night, and one of the panelists, I was going back rewatching some of the old episodes.
Yeah.
One of our regular panelists was 4 years old at 9/11.
Yeah.
Talk about an event and a recognition that made both me and Uncle Jeff's spine curve.
Right.
But anyways,
I legit excuse myself to get my Ovaltine and my cookie.
Like Noah Foster says, but I digress. Back to me party.
Buy the shirt though.
But yeah, I had to have my Muppet representation in the song, and I probably would have heard otherwise about it if I didn't.
That was the one drawback to last week's show, because your dad couldn't include any Muppet songs on that list because they was not Christmas Carol
and Treasure Island were both distributed by Disney.
Yeah, but Treasure Island didn't include any songs.
Technically, those two count.
But Treasure Island didn't really produce anything worthy of our list. Christmas Carol did. We honorable mentions or whatever. But yeah, it's yeah, that was like, oh, none of the original ones are on there. Oh, that was tough for both of us. I'm not gonna lie. Hard. Yeah, the fact that Rainbow Connection isn't on the best song list because it's in the library now, and it's like, damn. Anyway.
But yeah, knowing the fact that I probably would have gotten disowned if I didn't have any Muppet or Country Bear song on my list.
Especially
that's where I get the mandatory comment from.
I don't know about disowned. That makes me sound like a evil villain of my own.
You were the one that when I took, do you know the Beatles song quiz, you said if I get 10 or less wrong, I'm getting disowned. I do not want to hear it.
That was a joke, sweetheart. But anyways.
Severe timeout at best.
A stern talking to, but that's about it.
But for now, what's your words of wisdom? Let it be. Next song.
Yeah. So my number 6 is one that Mom helped me get.
Okay.
I had totally forgot about this song because this is one of the songs that I had to change because Dad also had it on his list, but it's from the same movie.
Okay.
So I didn't go too far off track.
Oh, that's good.
So I put Evil Like Me from Descendants 1.
Oh.
Because knowing how crazy Mom is of a Kristen Chenoweth fan.
Right.
Going back to that Idina Menzel not singing comment, But it's such a cute little duet.
Yes.
I mean, Mal is legit having withdrawals at this point. And her mom is just kind of there for a, wake-up call.
Yep. Descendants is very much like your dad mentioned earlier. It just kind of grew on me. I was not a fan at first, mainly because when it dropped, it was on at home when I was living with you guys.
I'm wearing a Descendants shirt right now.
Oh, I was gonna say it was the pecan of the month. It was on every day. So yeah, but having been able to look back, it's unfortunate we didn't get more because of the tragic loss this franchise suffered, but. Man, those 3 movies actually are much better for me looking back now. Yeah. They're a cute little series.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I went into it, Frank Meacham at a Kings game.
Yes.
But by the end of the first act, I was like,
all right. Yep.
I got sucked in. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It was very. And I use this comparison very loosely, so don't butcher me, Jeff. It was very Once Upon a Time-esque.
Yes.
Yep. Which is what helped rope me into it and suck me into the story.
Yep.
And can we just please? I mentioned this to Natalie off camera when I was talking to her about her song choices. Can we give Disney the kudos for completely flipping Wicked on its ass and making Idina Menzel the queen, the good girl, and Kristen Chenoweth Maleficent,
right?
And just totally flipping those two on their heads, because it would have been so easy to just bring them into the Disney family and have Adina be the villain and Kristen be the good girl,
Well,
especially with her squeaky voice. That's the only thing I don't like about Kristen is her voice. It grates on my eardrums after a while.
her speaking voice bugs.
Yes.
Singing voice is ungodly beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But just hearing her talk, it's so nasally and squeaky. It's just like,
well, she can't help it. She's a legitimate pixie, dude. She's like this big.
Fair.
So now, but I will say this: it's funny you mentioned Wicked. If you've never seen Wicked in the last 20 years, turn your head for about 20 seconds here. You lame asses, you. There really are who they are in Wicked because Elphaba's not really evil, and Galinda's not all that squeaky clean for most of that movie, that play either.
Nope.
So, granted, who we saw them at in 1939 very much could have been flipped. But as the story develops in Wicked, it's like, all right. So they're both shades of gray. I got it. So, but I did like as you mentioned, the flipping the script because Kristen's she's got that personality where she very easily plays any hero, any heroine, whatever, and
she's got that bubbly about her.
She's very bubbly. Adina is very much
bubbly.
Yeah, bubbly, little bit of the bubbly. Yes, well, no, Kristen's an overabundance of the bubbly, as opposed to Chris Jericho. But Adina very much is not that. She's very much just matter of fact. Adina's like that in real life, from what I understand. And we don't talk about Adina's real life because then Natalie gets mad that she got Portman and she didn't. But
Brooklyn gets mad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Brooklyn's the Portman fan. Natalie's the Fulton fan.
I was gonna say.
I'm not sure who Fulton's married to. I don't really want to look it up right now. But well, yeah, there you go. I'm whole other conversation. But I love that they cast Kristen as Maleficent because the original Maleficent and even Angelina Jolie, both that very baritone style voice that is just commands presence, and Chris Jenner is not that person at all.
No, she's
not this tall, booming figure walking in a room like living space person, and it works. It still works.
It does. She did a really good job as Maleficent.
And this song is very reminiscent. Both of them did so good on this song.
They do. Their voices work really well together in this song.
I love how number 6 is evil because it could have been 6, the number of the beast, 66.
So, my number 5 is, once again, a movie that both you and I share in common, Uncle Jeff.
Okay.
Just different songs, obviously.
Right.
So, it is from Enchanted. It is So Close, the song that they dance to at the ball.
This is rough. Yeah.
It is a really, I wouldn't say sad song. Because, Disney's usually really peppy with their love songs.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, in the song, they even say, so close and still so far.
Yeah. This song is very much the moment they realize that they're with the wrong people.
It really is. And the fact that I had to remind Dad what it was from.
Yeah. It very much makes the moment where Robert wakes her up after the poison apple that it wraps everything together because Robert doesn't want to because Nancy's sitting right there and she goes, go ahead. It's like they all 4 of them get it. Like they all realize what's happened. It is what it is. And Robert wakes her up and Giselle looks right. I knew it would be you. And it's just like, man, for somebody so naive that came from Andalasia where nothing, is of any substance whatsoever, right, Edward? It's that whole song and Nerissa's arrival and the moment with the apple is powerful.
It really is.
And it's this song that starts the powerful part of it because up to then it's a parody. It is what it is. It's cutesy, but you get the real world blended in. This is when we in some real shit now.
Yeah.
Good, great choice. Love it.
Thank you. This is My next song is another one of those nostalgia ones, and it's my last nostalgic song.
Oh.
From my childhood. And this is an episode of a show that Dad can vouch I would watch over and over and over again. And I mean, it was a musical episode.
Oh.
So there has to be a lot of songs.
Of course.
Of course. I mean, what's a musical without songs?
Short.
Yeah. So I chose
More
the
tolerable
opening
to watch.
song
Oh, stop it! Terrible.
Go ahead, sweetheart.
So I chose the opening song from the My Friends Tigger and Pooh musical episode.
Yes!
One Big
Oh my
Happy
goodness.
Family.
Oh my god, I haven't seen these images in forever. I love it.
It is such a heartwarming song, saying how, you know, even if we're divided, we'll still be friends forever.
Right?
And even as events happen later on in the episode where they do become divided, they still are friends at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So.
The really gut-wrenching part of this song is when they reprise it later after the split has happened in the 100 Acre Woods, and half of them is on one side, half is on the other side, and they try to sing it without everybody, and you hear the gaps in the song.
Oh.
And it just doesn't work without everybody together.
No, it's oh.
You know, this is another one of those nostalgia ones, like she said, that I had to remind her qualified.
Yep.
And when I did, I also tried to recommend from this one, so an honorable mention from me, Underneath the Same Sky.
Yes.
From Kenny Loggins, where they actually start to realize what's happened and that they all need to come back together.
Yeah. Yeah. The moment where the split is not, it's very much metaphorical. It's the aha moment, which is always powerful in the story.
Yeah. So that is my number 4. It's just a great song.
It is. And when you think about that, you kids really first discovered Pooh and the gang on My Friends Tigger and Pooh, to the point of our Halloween visit when Dylan was, I think it was the first one, so the one that went crazy because of the trick-or-treating line from hell. But the pictures with Tigger and Pooh are in their Super Sleuth costumes, the blue costume with the mask on. That's how far intertwined your guys' lives were with that show. Mm-hmm. Because for Halloween, they were dressed as the Super Sleuths, Tigger and Pooh.
And to this day, that is still the only time I have ever seen them in those costumes.
Yeah, they never brought those back out for anything, even during Halloween, ever again. And I don't understand why. I know they're back there in costuming. I'm sure I could dig long enough and find it and probably get in trouble, but I know they're back there because we don't throw away anything in this company, except Song of the South.
It's like the Rescue Rangers costumes. You know, you would think that would be perfect for them to wear in DCA on a regular.
Yeah.
You've got Chip, who's basically dressed as Indiana Jones. Throw him on the Hollywood Studios backlot. You've got Dale, who's wearing a Hawaiian shirt because he's supposed to be Magnum PI. So that already gives the DCA vibe to it.
Yeah, you know, God forbid, you know, or even if it's not full-time, put them in the costumes for, I don't know, the movie that came out. But again, I digress. I didn't work for the company. I did buy the shirt, though. Anyway. Here.
It's not hard to book. It's just hard to finance, right, Jeff?
Not for this company. That's the sad part. We got $1 trillion friggin' Anyway.
Bringing it to my number 3.
Yes.
Is a character that I relate to in so many ways. And this song is one of those powerful women songs where you're like, oh my God, I can relate to this. Which is what I do whenever I hear it, which is from Encanto.
Oh, okay.
Surface Pressure.
Nice.
By Luisa.
Nice.
Because she is the strong one.
Right.
He's not supposed to have, you know, this, what's the word? She's supposed to act how her family expects her to, much like Isabella.
Yes.
But this is the song and moment in the movie where she just breaks down and she can't keep it in anymore, much like Elsa. She just loses it.
Yep.
So I love Louisa. I relate to her, like I said before. She might not be the oldest, but she is older than Mirabelle.
Yeah.
So
I wish they would let her be a meet and greetable more than she is, because Mirabelle and Miguel are always over there at the rancho, but you never see Louisa. And that's like, I feel that would be a better balance, because so many people, like you said, relate to Louisa as well. So they have to be strong. So
at the end of the day, you know, and I know you haven't seen Encanto, Jeff. That's one of the other minis that you still haven't watched yet, and you need to add to the list, check it off. But for lack of a better way to compare it, she's basically grown up the way that us guys grow up. You know, don't show your emotions.
Exactly.
You're supposed to be the backbone. You're supposed to be strong.
Yep.
Not allowed to show any emotions. So when she finally does crack under the pressure, it's a moment for her.
We've all had that moment where we have to keep the shield up, and it's just the barrage of bullets can only hit so many times before that one little crack appears. And, and then once it does, Shatterpoint.
That's the perfect analogy, because you look in the image and she is literally shielding her little sister from what is coming after them.
Yep.
You know, she is there to protect.
Yeah.
So that was a really good analogy. I honestly wasn't thinking about it in that term.
Thank
you for that. My number 2, we're already almost done with my list. This is flying by. My number 2 is one of those Disney love songs. And I am the type of person that I love Disney love songs. They are usually that point in the movie where I'm going to say most movies except for Frozen.
Right. Oh.
They're usually that point in the movie where they're like, okay, this is what's going to be going on.
Right.
And we're going to stick with this.
Yep.
So this is my favorite Disney princess movie.
Okay.
Number 2 is I See the Light from Tangled.
Oh, I love it.
It is such a cute movie. I can't even begin to explain how powerful this song is in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, like, how do I describe this? The way that their characters are set up, you wouldn't naturally, like, off the top of your head think that this is going to happen. But they do. They do end up fall in love. And it's just a really cute little duet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very powerful.
It is.
Again, it's one of those aha moments, because, you know, Eugene has been Flynn for so long that the guard has been up. And Rapunzel's been in the tower so long that her guard didn't know anything but up. So this is where they kind of like let everything melt away and just be with each other. It's such a cool moment. It's such a powerful moment that criticize the company in 3, 2. They pulled Snow White out of Fantasmic and put this song in the princess sequence.
I'm so excited to see that, by the way.
And I understand that, sweetheart. But they took out Walt's princess. And I was like, oh. But you know what? I was telling your dad, first time in 30 years, I had the best view I've ever had of that show. I was literally center stage, directly across from the cabin, in the ADA section, because I had my scooter with me. They could have set me up better if I had been on the freaking stage my dang self. And I got to film everything because I didn't have my glasses back yet, so I couldn't see worth a poop. So I had to film everything to watch it back later. But being in that moment and having everything come by me and having it transition from Ariel to Rapunzel and having that swell, and at last, and it's like, you know what? get over yourself, Meacham. It works. It really does.
Mhm.
And even 7 years after the fact, because it was added to Fantasmic in 2017 with the 2.0 relaunch, Rapunzel and Tangled were still popular enough where the company felt it was time to put a little fresh paint of coat, as they say on another channel over on Fantasmic, and it works. I didn't like it, and I won't fully accept it ever because Snow White deserves her own moment, but it works for y'all's generation, and I have to be understanding of the fact that I'm always set in my ways, but I gotta learn to be adaptable once in a while, even with my show. And it works. And it's, like I said, it's such a pivotal moment in the movie for both characters that you can't not have it showcased somehow within the parks.
And even more pivotal is after the song when she finally has that moment and realizes that the lights are for her.
Yep, exactly.
You know, she's been locked up in this tower, just always wanted to go see the lights, had no real idea what the purpose of them even are.
Yep.
So when she realizes that it's her parents trying to signal her, that's what makes this moment even more beautiful.
Yeah.
It really
I wish
does.
we could find a way within Imagineering to have the lanterns float during that sequence, because that would be just even
That
a little
would be
bit bigger
awesome.
touch, right? You know, there's only so much you can do on a 67-year-old Rivers of America, but darn it, they pull off some pretty cool stuff in that show. You'll see it.
They do. All right, sweetheart, bring us home. What is your number one?
My number one is the one that Dad had said he had never seen. He'd never seen the movie. I don't think he's heard the song. But Uncle Jeff and I have a funny story about this movie.
Oh.
When I had the realization of who was in the movie.
Okay.
It is a Disney Channel original movie. And it is my favorite song from Teen Beach Movie. The song is Cruisin' for a Bruisin', which is a really upbeat number.
Yep.
And see, the way you laughed means that you remember the
I
whole reaction.
For context out there, you can throw it out if you want, because it's totally your story.
So the story was, I had just seen Rocky Horror Picture Show the day right before I showed Uncle Jeff the song and movie.
Right.
And he was like, "Oh my God, Natalie, do you know who that is?" And me being totally oblivious and having seen this since it first aired on Disney Channel, has no idea who this old man is until he goes, "Natalie, that's Brad from Rocky Horror Picture Show." So, and I'm sitting here absolutely mind blown.
Yeah. For context being king, as we talk about on another fandom of mine, she had just seen Barry Bostwick in one of his, probably his earliest film role, and he spent a good chunk of it in his tidy whities. So then, just to be an even more cruel uncle, I had her freeze frame it on a shot of Barry with the scattered white hair and everything. I'm like, and now picture tidy whities. And she goes, she almost hit me. She almost slugged me across the face. I'm like,
That's awesome.
But then we're like, all right, now pause this for a second. Turn on Enchanted. Showed her Queen Narissa. I go, now picture Janet. She goes, wait, but it was a morning of Uncle Jeff having to hide because she was gonna kill me, because I totally ruined both those movies for her forever.
Apparently not forever, because they're both represented here.
What's that?
Said apparently not forever because they're both still represented here. So
they are, but I just found that moment so funny, and the fact that in the movie when the song is taking place, he might not be in the scene.
No, he's not.
Because in the movie, they essentially go back in time to a movie that takes place in the 60s.
Yes.
And I mean, the song is basically about a surf and turf war.
Yep.
Because both places want the restaurant as their hangout place.
Yep.
And what better than Disney doing what they do best and having them fight in a song?
Of course.
You know.
Yeah. I wasn't sure where you were going until your dad put the image up. Put the image up again, Jay, for me real quick. I just want to point out something. The African-American gentleman in the front, could he have a more Frankenfurter look in his face or the freaking accessories on his on the chain there? I'm like, okay, she's going to tell the Barry story. I knew exactly what it was going to be as soon as I saw about it's the Barry story. Because that just put off some mad Frankenfurter vibes in that outfit, I'll tell you what.
And the fact that he's just a side character.
And he's just like it's like, wow. Yep, I know exactly where this is going.
So that is my list.
I love it. I love how Teen Beach Movie, which is very much a common Disney thread. You think about Frankie and Annette, you think about everybody from that era. It throws back to that. I love that that's your number one. That just warms my Disney lack of ginger soul.
Well done, sweetheart. Well done. You really came ready to play this time. I am thoroughly impressed.
Yes.
Thank you. I did try.
Because if I'm being honest to our viewers, I didn't know how she would do in speaking her reasonings behind everything to the public. She's never really done this type of thing before.
Right.
You gave sound, logical, detailed reasons to every one of your choices. And, if I didn't have my headset over my hat, I would take my hat off to you. Well done, sweetheart. So that only leaves me now.
Yes, it does.
So.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun.
Some of my list should make a whole lot of sense and be absolutely no surprise to anybody.
All right.
And there's at least one on here, my number 10, ironically, that I think may catch some people off guard in the grand scheme of things.
Even us?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm actually curious now.
Yeah, right?
Maybe not, but I'm not 100%. Maybe it won't shock you guys, because y'all have known me a really long time. I mean, you both have known me about as long, Jeff. I've actually known you longer than my own daughter, because we go back to 2005. So maybe
I've only been around for 13 years.
Maybe it'll surprise you. Maybe it won't, but we'll find out. But my number 10, the one that I think will surprise you guys the most, comes from a movie, a Disney Channel original movie, that I really didn't want to like at first, but I really started to change my opinion of the movie when this song hit. And the movie stars both Demi Lovato and the Jonas Brothers.
Oh.
We're going to not the first, but the second Camp Rock. Okay. And it is when Nick Jonas sings Introducing Me.
Nice.
You've basically got this girl from the rival camp that he's sweet on. And they're trying to find a mutual ground, being from rival camps. And he just throws it all out there. It's just him and his guitar. And all the lyrics are what he likes, what he doesn't like. It's him in a nutshell. It is introducing me.
Yep.
And it's the first Jonas Brothers song that I ever liked.
I was going to say.
The only other one I can even really think of that I enjoy is the one that they had when they first came back, that I'm a Sucker for You.
Yes.
And that's only because the first time I heard it, I didn't realize it was them.
Yes,
and I liked it because it was catchy. Then when I found out, it was like, well, I can't hate it now because I already liked it.
And say, you done said it out loud, you liked it. You're locked in now.
You've gone too far, you can't go back.
I thought it was such a cute and sweet song. And
it is.
For for us shy guys out there, what better way to take that leap and try to make an impression?
Yep. If you've got a way to break the ice and you feel comfortable in your own shell, then that's the way to do it. And for the Jonas Brothers, it's all about the music for them, so it works. And it does surprise me because you and I have talked about your lack of affinity for the brothers Jonas. Again, as we get older, they get older and they get more tolerable, so it's a little bit more of a way to deal with.
I've become a bit of a Nick fan through his acting.
Yes, exactly.
More so than the music.
Yes, Nick,
especially his performances in the Jumanji films alongside Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart.
Do I dare bring up the South Park episode?
No.
Okay.
No. Let's not go there. That is completely anti-Disney. Let us not go there right now. But yeah, so number 10, introducing me from Camp Rock 2.
Yes.
Number 9, also from a Disney Channel original movie,
is
the one that Natalie and I shared, and then she changed her selection.
Okay.
Coming from the original Descendants, proudly represented on her shirt.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Dove Cameron singing If Only.
Oh, love it.
And I have been a fan of this song from day one.
Yep.
To take a phrase from the Usos, I've been down since day one-ish when it comes to this song.
Absolutely.
Because, number one, I realized in this song that Dove could actually sing.
Right.
And wasn't just a manufactured voice.
Yes.
And number two, it was that moment in the movie, that aha moment, where she realized that she was falling in love. And as much as she and her buddies wanted to be villains, she was swinging the pendulum over to the good girl side.
Yep.
And likewise, it was this point of the movie where, because Ben had gotten in the water, her spell was erased over him, and he realized he was in love with her too, for real.
Yeah.
Not just because of a spell.
Yep. It is a pivotal moment in a young person's life when they have that first love, and seeing both of them have the moment here, it was a key moment in the story, and it was very well laid out, very well told through song. Just cool stuff.
Nat, I know this was originally on your list. Why was this on your list?
This was on my list originally, mainly for the fact that, like you said, you had gone over it. It was the aha moment. But I really do. Such a beautiful voice. The fact that not only did she go on to actually become a singer, like a professional singer, but this is kind of what started it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I will say this, I'm putting myself on blast here. I totally had a Mal phase. I had a giant Descendants phase.
Yes, she did.
Yes.
She had the outfits for both Mal and Evie.
Oh, yeah.
But was definitely more of a Mal girl.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Our members.
Yep.
And because of you and the Descendants, I began to feel that connection to Cameron Boyce, who obviously passed away some years ago from seizures, which obviously resonates with me because I've had epilepsy since I was 10 months old.
Yep.
So there's always that little thought in the back of my head that, like, that could have been me.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Descendants hit our blended extended family in a lot of ways that it did other people,
and it came at the right time too.
Yep, it did.
Couple years earlier, couple years later, probably wouldn't have even been a blip on the radar there, but came at that right moment.
Yeah, you mentioned it was a lot like Once Upon a Time. I honestly didn't like it or didn't want to like it at first because it was very much akin to the Star Trek universe for me. It was like, you're rewriting history. Like, no. And I had to be reminded, alternate universes.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going back and changing Sleeping Beauty from 1959. We're just telling a different version of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I can get with this. And Descendants is, like I said, not quite fungus, because I actually do like it, but it's grown on me.
Yeah.
So,
much like number 8, the minute that I saw this movie and I heard this song, I was like, give me more, please. This is such an amazing song. And much like you discussed about Jasmine earlier on your pick,
right.
This guy didn't really get a real song in his first movie. It wasn't until the sequel where he was really given an opportunity to shine. And I'm talking about Kristoff singing Lost in the Woods from Frozen 2.
God. Oh my God. I forgot all about this. That's great.
I mean, again, being a guy who grew up with MTV in the 80s, I immediately connected to the song.
Yes.
And just thought it was so epic. And I remember playing it in the car with Nat, rocking out to it, and her just kind of giving me the side-eye look as teenagers do.
Yes.
And I'm like, do you not get this? Do you not get why this is so amazing? And she's like, no. So I went to YouTube. I looked up Chicago, You're the Inspiration, and I played it for her. And she had that moment, you know, because it's very much a style parody of Chicago from that era.
Very much so.
You know, much like how Weird Al will do his blatant rip-off parodies, but then he'll do other songs that are in the style of artists, even though it's not a direct rip-off.
Right.
Like Dare to Be Stupid is a style parody of Devo, Whip It, and all that.
Yes.
This song very much a style parody of that era Chicago. So when she heard You're the Inspiration, you could kind of see the little light bulb start to flicker, like, okay, I get it now.
The gears started turning.
She may not have at the moment still fully understood it, but she got it.
Yes.
And again, being a guy who grew up in the 80s, Chicago, You're the Inspiration was always one of my favorites.
Yep.
I mean, the same man, Peter Cetera, went on and sing about The Glory of Love from Karate Kid 2.
Yep.
So, you know. But mad love to Jonathan Groff, the voice of Kristoff. The only part of Hamilton I enjoyed during that 3 hours.
Oh, hush. Those you claim that those are the 3 hours of your life that you are never gonna get back. Yet I saw you when he came on, and you were like, "This is actually kind of good."
Yeah, his part.
Right.
Yeah, and then you fell back asleep, as you do.
I have still managed to visit so many times, and I still haven't had to watch that the whole way through yet. I am determined to get through the Disney trip with that streak intact, but I don't think it's going to happen if I know this one better.
Now that you've mentioned it, she's going to write it down.
I know, she's going to tie me to the couch. All right,
George Strait style. She's going to write this down, take a little note.
That's it.
I am. Keep that in mind for next time you visit.
That's right.
There you go. So we're going to go from a ha-ha to a little bit more sad.
Oh no.
I don't think it'll be as sad for you, Jeff, because I don't think you've seen this movie.
Oh no.
But we're going to go to 2017 and we're going to discuss Coco.
No! Not Coco!
And Remember Me.
Oh.
And it took a little bit of time, I'm going to be honest, for this song to grow on me.
Yeah.
Because at first it's so identified with Ernesto de la Cruz.
You had to pull that card.
But you go and you watch a little bit more and you get deeper into it and you realize that it was Hector that wrote it for Mama Coco because he was a musician, on the road. You know, just keep me in your heart. We're never going to be apart. Just make sure you remember me. And that thread sewn so perfectly throughout the movie, because at the end of the day, because he left, because he died, and they never really knew how or why, but they didn't care because he abandoned him, she was the only one who still remembered him. And as she's starting to fade, you see him starting to fade.
Yep.
To the point where, Miguel has to remind her about him when he comes back from the underworld. And although, again, spoiler alert for a 5-year-old movie, although she's already at that age and passes anyway, he gets that little bit of rejuvenation because she remembers him in the moment, which gives him that energy and now exposes him to everybody else so that his spirit can stay alive. Such a pivotal song in the movie. And
It really
I,
is.
I remember working at Stater Brothers when this came out, and one of my co-workers in the meat department, he actually challenged me. He was like, "Do you want to hear the saddest song ever?"
Oh no.
And I'm like, "All right, go for it." And he played me Remember Me. And at that time, never seen the movie yet, so no frame of reference.
Right.
So while I acknowledged that it was a sad song, I was like, I got one better.
Oh,
Or worse, I guess would be the situation, one sadder. And I played for him Randy Houser's All Sleep.
Oh, God, that's evil, dude.
Which, if anybody knows me, just knows how that song just rips in and grabs my heart, yanks it out.
Yeah.
And he acknowledged that that was the sadder of the two songs.
Yeah.
But when I did finally see the movie and I was able to put the song into the perspective of the story,
yes,
it obviously became a lot sadder to me.
I did finally see that, by the way.
Oh, good.
It
okay.
is.
That's
It's
good.
rough. It's powerful, like you said. We've all had loss in our lives. We've all had loss that we didn't expect in our lives. And Remember Me, it's even before I had seen the movie, it hit hard because of it's like you kind of figure it out as far as where it's supposed to be going. But yeah, when you tie in the context of the movie, it is right up in the guts.
It's brutal.
It is. It really is.
And don't get me wrong, the movie has some other great songs.
Yeah. There's the one
Loco.
Yeah. I heard that in the parks every day, often before I saw the movie because of PhilharMagic and everything. Like I heard that song many more times over in DCA than I did before I saw the movie last week. So it's a great song. It's just not. I'll say it's a great song. It's one of the better songs of the modern Disney era, but it's nowhere near as powerful as Remember Me.
Yeah,
and that's why it's there. So
exactly.
Obviously.
Speaking of powerful, we're gonna come to the one that we share, Jeff. And when you see the image, it should not surprise you in the least.
See, I knew it. I knew you were going to have this one, and it was not going to be Let It Go, because that's your girl.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And To Be Free is the song that you were thinking of from the Broadway and the Hyperion show.
Which I still say would have been a great addition to this, but damn, Speechless just hits a home run, man. It really does.
It does. And they righted the wrong from the original movie.
Yep.
Because as you kind of touched on, aside from her part in A Whole New World, she was the only princess up until Merida, I think, to not sing her own song.
Yeah.
And that's rough to be included with some greats, Once Upon a Dream is a wish your heart makes, Someday My Prince Will Come. Under
Part of
this,
your world, yeah.
yeah, part of your world. You know, there's so many,
Yep.
and to be the one that doesn't have a song.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, it wasn't your movie.
I was gonna say.
Like you said, it was Aladdin, not Jasmine.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
So it was rough, and
yeah.
I love the fact that they gave her the song. Naomi Scott
Oh my
did an
God.
amazing job with it. I did not know she could sing like that.
Oh no. Yeah. Not a clue.
Because the only frame of reference I had of her prior was the Pink Ranger from the Power Rangers reboot movie.
Yep. Yep. Which is what it is. It's good, but not great. You know, it's
better than people give it credit for, but that's not what we're here to discuss.
Agreed.
But they definitely righted the wrong with this. And I'm so glad they gave her that song.
Yes. Compiling this show's songs has forced me to reconcile Jasmine from 92 not having her own song. Because it's like, dude, what I said, it's like, it wasn't her show.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I think I let it bug me more than it until this show, because we'd seen the play. And, you know, To Be Free is just such a powerful thing for her in that show. It was like, where the hell, like, why couldn't Linda have sang this? Why wasn't this part of this? And, you know, imagine Linda belting this one out. Oh my God, it would have been such a cool moment for her. But I get it.
Mm-hmm.
The way they wove this story, it was about everybody. It wasn't just about Aladdin. It wasn't just about Genie. You know, they very much had Jasmine be a pivotal part of the plot. I dare say Jafar, other than being the villain and having more of a fleshed out role, which they did a great job with Jafar in the live action movie, he almost takes a step back compared to Jasmine, Genie, and Aladdin this time. And I think that was a key ingredient to why the pre-condemning of the movie from the Robin camp, you know, the Robin fandom, you know, got turned around on it, because it was such all three hero characters really were like strong.
Yeah.
And this song is definitely a huge reason, especially when it gets a reprise. So she does it twice.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both moments of like, that's right. So I love that we share this one.
They're definitely powerful moments. And, you know, you mentioned the Robin camp. I've said this a few times on the show. I'll repeat it now in front of my daughter and the new viewers that we've got.
Yep.
Granted, the role of the Genie was written specifically with Robin Williams in mind.
Yes, sir.
But had Will Smith been a more experienced actor at the time in 92 when this came out, the animated version came out, he very easily could have been the Genie back then too. Yep. He always had the personality, the sense of humor, and the charisma to very easily be that person, and he proved it in this.
Yep.
Everybody's hang-up was just that Robin is Robin is Robin.
Yep.
And it was 5 years after we lost him.
Yeah, it was so soon. And when you think about 1992 Will Smith, still very much in the Fresh Prince era, very much, you know, family friendly, they could have very easily de-adulted the adult stuff that they included in his version of Genie and made it work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because Will knew. Will Smith, the rapper, definitely would not have been a proper NBC primetime character on television. So they tweaked it just enough where it works. Yeah. Nobody tweaks characters from fairy tale classic lore, right? Grimm's fairy tales, better than this company. So it would have been a perfect transition for him had it not been, like you said, specifically written with Robin in mind. And, you know, talk about like an understudy thing. It would have worked, but it does work in 2017. And I thought they did a great job. Or 19, excuse me.
Absolutely. Okay. I'm going to hit y'all in the guts again.
God damn it.
Ruh-roh.
I hate the show, Jay.
I'm going to hit y'all in the guts again because I just adore the song. And considering the era we're talking about, I have to include it. It is literally the second oldest song in my list because more of my songs are modern than are old when it comes to these.
Right.
So it's literally the second oldest song in my list. But I had to include it, even though at its core, I'm not the hugest fan of the singer. But in the context of the movie, it comes right after a very pivotal moment in the main character's story.
I'm scared.
Me too.
Little Wonder.
Oh my god.
I hate this show, Jay.
From Meet the Robinsons.
Right? Oh my god.
Because all Lewis has wanted the whole movie was to see and talk to his mother. But after being shown what his future will be if he stays on course, he has that moment of clarity. He has that moment. Wilbur still delivers his promise. He takes him to his mother. And he has the choice to doing what he's wanted all along or not interrupting the course of action, knowing what the future is going to bring him. And it's a tough choice.
Yeah.
But arguably, he makes the right one. And he doesn't go after her.
Nope. Which, how old is Lewis in the movie as far as when he's Lewis?
It's like 10, 11
Can you
maybe.
imagine being a 10-year-old boy and you have to make the decision that will legitimately affect the course of the rest of your days?
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, right then and there, you got to decide what you're going to do. And you're 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Man, like, I can't, like, my 10-year-old self was stupid as hell. I would have made the wrong choice. It would have been like, no, I want my mom. F this. So, good on Lewis for having enough of a head on his shoulders to not do that. Yeah, I had not seen the Robinsons until I met y'all. So that was, for me, it's a more of a recent hit in the feels. But we've all had that moment where, you have to make a decision. And what's my favorite movie, kids? Back to the Future. How easy would it have been for Doc to stay in the Old West and not, try to go back? How easy would it have been for him to just leave Clara behind? It was obviously gutting him to have to leave her behind. How easy would it have been for, Marty to just let things play how they played out? And, there's so many key moments in that trilogy that, we talk about all the time, Jay, butterfly effect. Time travel movies are the worst. They're the worst. And this moment in this movie is that moment where you wish the time travel wasn't a story thread because you love it because it's great moments in cinematic and television history. But as a person, you're going, ugh! And this song is part of that.
Although he does change one moment that changes the course of history.
Yes.
Just not his moment.
Yeah.
Because he wakes Goob up from the outfield so that he can make the big play, catch the ball, not go down the dark path where he resents him and becomes the bowler hat guy.
Yep. Which,
The bowler hat guy is such a mood. I'm saying that now.
But that was such a cool reveal that the bowler hat guy wasn't the real villain. It was the hat. I thought that was a cool, very 2000s Disney moment because we were once we survived the dreaded Y2K, the hell ever, it was like everything was tech, and that was a cool little thread. And again, there's so many moments in this movie. God, the movie ends on one of Walt's famous quotes of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Keep moving forward, baby. So it's such a great. I still say I co-sign with this man. It is still, even though Disney Plus is seen by how many billions of people, it is still a hidden gem that does not get near enough love.
Absolutely. And Bowler Hat Guy is another one of those, much like Hans, when you reveal who he really is to the
Oh,
story,
God.
it's just like, oh my God. And then he reveals how he became to that point, and you're gutted. You feel so bad for him.
Yep.
You almost turn on Lewis,
Right?
but you realize that Lewis wasn't doing it out of spite,
No. No.
which is what makes it different.
Yeah.
But he just always was the cause effect to Lewis's shenanigans,
Yep.
because Lewis was always up all hours of the night trying to make these crazy inventions. Goob never got sleep. So he fell asleep out there in the middle of his big game.
Yep. It's really, and again, this is way inside baseball, especially with Natalie here, but nicknaming the kiddo Goobian and his story, how it's played out, it's like, it's powerful for me. So, anyway. Ugh. God, I hate this show, Jay. Anyway, carry on.
Sorry. Number four might hit in the feels a little bit, but I promise that if it does, it is the last time.
Okay.
Knowing me and knowing my love for certain felt creatures,
Ruh-roh.
there had to be a song from there somewhere, much like my daughter said.
Of course.
It's mandatory.
And considering that they had 2 movies to choose from,
Yep.
quite a few options. And
Yes.
I did actually have in contention a song from the movie that came after this, Muppets Most Wanted, that I thought about. I honorable mention to I'm Number One, which Constantine sings with Ricky Gervais.
Yes.
But for me, and there's so many great songs in the first movie. Natalie Had Me Party. You've got Life's a Happy Song. You've got Man or Muppet. You've got the resurrection of Rainbow Connection, but because it wasn't written for this movie, it technically doesn't count, as with Phenomena.
Right.
So I went a little bit more left field, but the song has sentimental meaning to me. And I went with Pictures in My Head.
Oh, God. Oh.
That moment where Mary and Gary and Walter are all at Kermit's house, and they're trying to tell him how they need to do a show to save the theater. Gee, where have we seen this before? The Muppets have to put on a show to save the theater. Sounds a lot like It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie to me, but I digress. But this moment and realizing that they haven't been together for so long, they haven't performed together for so long, they haven't done a show, and even where is everybody, and him walking down the hall looking at the pictures of his old friends and reflecting. In more recent years for me, and here's where it gets sentimental,
Right.
I hear this song now and I think of the old LBWA days.
Right. Yep.
And I think about Ether Nefarious, and I think about Deathstalker and Seven and LB Kid and AWOL and RDJ. Some of those people who have passed.
Yeah.
Some of those people, just where are they now?
Yep.
Dub R Swift and Smoke.
Right.
If we even tried to meet back up, would we have the same chemistry we once had?
Right.
So it kind of hits me in that sentimental moment, because it's like there's times when I want to try again.
Yeah.
But would we even be able to reclaim a quarter of the glory we once had over a decade ago?
Yeah. Yeah. You figure that the show we had that I was part of, that was the last time we did the Eddie, recall back, and that was 2012. That was, it was over 10 years, and even then we weren't a full crew at that point.
Yeah.
So I honestly thought you were going to go with Man or Muppet because, and we're going to clip this part out to show Ronnie, because of how much we were drilled in our heads about how much Dylan could look like Jim Parsons when he gets older. And then they cast the kid that plays young Sheldon, and I go, son of a bitch. Like, Dylan could have totally done it.
Now that you're mentioning it, holy crap.
Yeah. When they finally showed Jim Parsons, because it was Jim Parsons played Walter, obviously. When they showed up, like, Ronnie's first thought was that Dylan could play Jim Parsons as a child. So, then they never really watched Big Bang.
Yeah.
And then they had young Sheldon, and I see the kid, I go, there's another money opportunity missed.
The most I ever usually see of Big Bang is the lead-in to Dynamite or Rampage.
Right! See? But yeah, every time I see the Muppets, the first fully Disney Muppets movie, I go, I'll see Ronnie at work tomorrow, we'll talk about it.
Pretty much.
I'm surprised you didn't pick that one, but seeing this one, I can only see, especially you and your lifelong Muppet fandom and how much these guys have meant to you, and how very much like the story of the movie, how much the franchise had completely lost its way a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not going to, call Disney the savior of the Muppets, because we're not. I'm not that big-headed about the company. Let's not even front.
A lot of people feel like Disney killed the Muppets.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other argument.
It's a whole other show that I can't be a part of for legal reasons. But
I don't believe that, but I definitely feel like for the longest time they didn't know what they had and how to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
And then by the time they successfully capitalized on it, they struck gold momentarily, and they didn't capitalize quickly enough to follow it to stoke the fire while it was still hot.
Yeah.
And then when they did try to ride the wave, they used it as an opportunity to make fun at themselves and how the Muppets were getting a sequel, but it's only a placeholder until Tom Hanks is ready to make Toy Story 4, which came a few years later. So,
Yeah. Muppets
long-term storytelling, folks.
Right. Muppets Most Wanted, I think, it just took too long. That's really what it came down to. Because the first one, Disney bought Muppets, and it was like, oh, okay, well, we've already been in production for 6 months. Let's go ahead and keep going. That's how fast it felt when it actually went down. Most Wanted, first of all, the story felt forced, but that's all other, Yeah, I think that, there's moments like this, like I said, that the song really hits hard with the Muppet fans, because there hadn't been a really solid, full-length Muppet anything for a hot minute.
And that's why I was such a fan of the Walter character.
Yes.
Which a lot of people didn't like, those diehard Muppet fans. At the end of the day, we are Walter.
Yeah, exactly.
He is the epitome of all of us that grew up with the Muppets.
Yep.
Whether you're my dad's age and saw, Sam and Friends, or the early Muppets on Ed Sullivan, or on Saturday Night Live.
Yep.
Or if you're my age and Natalie's mom's age, and to a lesser extent your age, because you're a few years younger than us.
Yep.
And you grew up with the Muppet Show in reruns, and the Muppet Movie, Caper, Take Manhattan, Muppet Babies, etc. Or if you're her age and you were exposed through all these through VHS, DVD, because there really wasn't anything new for years.
Yeah.
So much so, too, I remember when I first saw Muppets Most Wanted in theaters.
Yeah.
Right? That was the first one I think she ever saw in theaters.
Yep.
She's been able to see the Muppet Movie since been in theaters, because thank God for Fathom Events.
Right. I will say this. The Muppets were off big screen for so long that we had to go to Muppet Vision every time we went, just to get our, because that's all we had on a big screen.
The Muppets were off big screen for so long, Dr. Bunsen Honeydew had to remind us in Muppets Take Most Wanted what number sequel this actually was.
Right? Right. Exactly. Yeah.
This is the 8th sequel to our original movie.
Right. Yeah.
And then you sit there and you count them and you're like, oh, yeah.
Yep. But we digressed way out
Moving
of the way.
right along.
Yes.
Dug-a-dun.
I understood that reference.
As well you should.
That's right. That would have been a timeout the rest of the show if you didn't.
Number 3 on my list is the one that took her the longest to guess. And it shocked the hell out of me that it took this long.
Yeah.
What number is it?
Number 3.
Number
Is this guessing based on you giving her clues, or just guessing based on the fact that it was on the list at all?
Guessing
One
based
clue.
off of
It drives
who
me
I am. And I told her that this song drives her absolutely nuts.
That was it. And I know there are a lot of those.
I was going to say, yeah, for me, on the peripheral of that, things driving you crazy, we could be here for another 2 hours. So let's just go ahead and reveal what the song is. And
Okay. I see what's happening here.
oh my God.
What can I say except
You're welcome. Okay. I gotta stop giggling. Jesus. I have said at work, Jay, if there's any more Dwayne Johnson character that's like The Rock, please tell me who it is.
seriously?
He stole The Rock.
Maui is the Rock in Rikishi's body
Yes.
with Roman's hair.
Well, Liaki's hair, maybe not Roman's hair. Liaki. You know what? It's Haku's hair. He's family too. Why not?
But yeah, I mean, how could I not have
Right.
Dwayne Johnson on here with "You're Welcome"?
Yeah.
Number one, whether it drives Natalie crazy or not, it's a great song.
It's a
It
wonderful
really
song.
is. Number two, it is perfectly tailored for Rock's voice.
Oh my God. Right?
Perfectly tailored. Number three, he shows that he can even get down and rap with the little break in the middle of it.
Right?
Which he would then flip that into being on the Tech 9 song that either came out last year or earlier this year.
Yes.
I don't remember when it came out as far as, if it was late 2021 or early 22, but the song Face Off he did with Tech 9.
Yep.
I mean, we've got to get the representation here somewhere, right? I mean, you can't just sit here and do 3 shows shilling for the mouse when at the end of the day, it's the pro wrestling, damn it.
That's
But
right.
I digress, that puts your name on the marquee.
That's fair.
And even if it wasn't that, I've always been a Rock fan since August of 98.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, of course, I'm going to gravitate toward this. Now, that's not to say that How Far I'll Go or Shiny, which I'm surprised Natalie didn't put.
Right?
Didn't make the list, Doesn't mean that those aren't great songs, but if you're talking about me, the Renegade, and Disney songs from this era that I identify with, especially since the fact that I'm not the greatest singer. We know this. We experienced this on the 23rd on the eve of Christmas Eve show. I can actually do this one pretty well.
Yeah, that's fair.
She's shaking her head no,
Disagree.
but yes, I can. Give me some credit.
Yes, we can. Oh, wait, that was Burt Rock, not The Rock. Go ahead.
Yes, we Canada.
I understand.
You're on timeout. Right now.
So
no, I have said to people at work since we've kind of
she is turning her back on us.
She did it for real. Look at that. She actually listened.
Turn back around, sweetheart.
She can listen. She can be taught. Anyway.
Damn.
Okay.
Shots
Why can't I
fired.
hear? I gotta pick on somebody. Anyway. Well, that's okay. He's with his mother, so he's getting picked on anyway because he just has to deal with her. Anyway.
Wow.
I have said that this is Dwayne's full circle, career-wise. And I say that because Maui is very much like The Rock's character. Started out post Rocky Maivia. The Rock as a character was smug, full of his own crap, had very much been, shunned by the other members of his society. And by the end of the arc, he's the most popular guy in the world again. He's our hero again, and we've all embraced the love again. It's very much The Rock's arc.
I'll even go you one better and go that it actually does go back to Rocky Maivia. Because if you think about how Maui is painted prior to us meeting him, he's painted as this savior. He's painted as this white meat baby face.
This is true.
It's not until we first meet him that we realize that he's more die Rocky die, nation of domination Rocky.
Yes. Yeah.
He's painted in this light that he is this ultimate good guy because he's this god and he's this savior and he's provided so much for the tribe.
Yep.
And we realize that's not the case at all. It's to take a phrase from Cody Rhodes, it's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. And
then he has that redemption at the end of the movie where he comes back to being the most electrifying man in all of entertainment.
Yeah. When I had that moment, I went, this is him. As much as, Disney dictated the story arc, obviously, because that's what we do. It was him
I would not be surprised if Dwayne didn't have a little bit of input in it because he resonated with the character. He's gotten to where he can have that kind of stroke now.
Right, exactly. And it's one of those, I think it was him, like you said, it was him going, you know what? I owe the wrestling fans a thank you for letting me be away. So here's The Rock for you.
Okay. We're at the number 2 spot. And what more can I say about the man we're going to discuss here? I mean, he's got a 7-foot frame.
Oh, God.
Ratzel on his back.
Damn
it. We all knew
Rule number 4 for Renegade's rules.
Yes.
God damn it, we're talking about Bruno.
We talk about Bruno on this channel. That's right.
Not the best rule, but
no, it's no.
Not in your opinion.
That's right.
But this is subjective.
We all know that she's a fan of rule number 3, ducks fly together.
Quack, quack, baby.
But yeah, we don't talk about Bruno.
We all knew it was coming at some point.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
If you didn't, then we'll see you in a week.
You ain't paying attention.
Right? Like there has literally been a thread for the entire shows. I'm always wearing the shirt of one of my selections.
Yes.
But I love we don't talk about Bruno because it's the ultimate misunderstanding.
Right.
You go through the movie, the whole first half, and Bruno is painted almost as like this villain.
Yeah.
The villain of the movie because no one wants to talk about him. We don't talk about Bruno. And then they talk about him and they sing the song. And you hear all these things about him, how he cursed the wedding.
He told me my goldfish would die.
Yeah, told me I'd lose my hair and look at me now.
Told me I'd get fat. They were right.
Everyone except Isabella, who had a great vision. But then you find out and you meet Bruno and you realize why he's not around.
Yeah.
You realize why people don't talk about him. And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Little Wonders. It's like you have that moment where you can change history. And do you do it or not? What do you do if you're presented with the knowledge that is essentially going to cripple your family?
Right.
Do you tell them about it? Or do you keep it to yourself and you hide?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to hurt your family.
Right.
So at the end of the day, he isolates himself because he would rather take that pressure than to hurt his family.
Yeah, it's if you pull that thread a different way, what happens? And the knowledge that it will change everything. Knowledge is a blessing and a burden. How many times did our parents tell us that over the years, Jay? How many times have we told our children this? It's true.
And you see how Bruno's been living and how, despite the fact that he's not there, he's been doing his damnedest to be part of things the entire time.
Yeah. Again,
it's just another one of those things. It's so gut-wrenching when you really break it down.
Right.
And it very easily could have gone the easy way with him being the villain.
Yep.
But he's not.
No. Dare
I say that he's really the true hero of the movie.
For real. And we were busting my chops about not being well versed in the modern stuff, and I think part of that is I don't, for whatever reason, don't think of the newer movies as Renaissance level. But man, these stories, Coco and Encanto and everything that we've been talking about today, the last 2.5 hours, all these movies just find a way. Maybe not the entire movie, but music's a big part of these movies, as we know, and they all have something to offer. And man, the Bruno thread through Encanto is just so polarizing that it makes it a key. If you have not seen it, like I haven't seen it the whole way through, y'all need to make it a point, because it's so Disney getting back into form of, we got this storytelling shit down.
Very much so.
And the music is unbelievable.
It really is. Kudos to Lin-Manuel Miranda.
But even then, it was only number 2. So the question begs, what will top the Renegades list as we close out our lists here?
It wasn't The Rock.
No.
It wasn't The Muppets.
Oh, no.
It wasn't Princess Jasmine.
And
so when it comes to Disney, there's only one other constant in my life. I'm only in it for the honey from the Country Bears.
Nice, dude. That's tremendous.
I mean, Natalie touched on it a little bit when she talked about Kid and You.
Yeah.
There's so many great songs in this movie.
Yeah.
There really are.
Kick It Into Gear very easily could have been on the list.
Yep.
Can Love Stand the Test with Don Henley and Bonnie Raitt singing as the Bears and in human form watching the Bears sing, making the joke about being better than the Eagles. Let It Ride could have easily been in here.
Yep.
There's such great songs, but for me, it came down to the duel. Yeah. Essentially, the devil went down to Georgia moment, because you've got Brian Setzer and his guitar with his rockabilly sound, and then you've got Zeb Zuber on his fiddle. And man, it's bad at first.
Oh yeah.
But much like Johnny says when the devil went back down to Georgia, give me a minute, I'll get this sucker here in tune. When Zeb starts to go off on it a little bit later, it's like, okay, homie. Even Queen Latifah, Cha-Cha, has to give him his props from behind the bar.
Right.
And once again, we're discussing a movie where the band has to hold a benefit show to save the theater. Yet this movie came out in 2002, prior to It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie and The Muppets. The Muppets is essentially this movie.
Right.
At its core. I've said it for years.
Oh, yeah.
For the
Copy paste.
Country Bear movie haters out there who talk about what a S show this film is,
Right.
but sit there and they praise the 2011 Muppets. It's the same damn movie.
They copy and pasted it.
Yeah.
Pretty much, Barry Barrington is Walter.
Yep.
Barry grew up idolizing the Country Bears. Walter grew up idolizing the Muppets. Both characters go on journeys to find said characters.
And themselves.
I'm getting there, Meacham. Over the course of the movie, both characters get the crew back together.
Yes.
Over the course of the movie, the benefit is held and success is achieved, all while finding their place in the world.
Yes. I still maintain, Jay, that people hate on the Country Bear movie because they haven't seen it. I was one of those people. I held off for years, and I mean, I don't think I saw it the whole way through until a year into living with you guys. So it had been a decade since it came out. Because as much as you are, to this day, the biggest Country Bear Jamboree fan I know, and the company my dad works for worked on its replacement here. And I refused to go on that too.
I know.
I was over it because I was pissed. There was still legs underneath that show. There was still, I don't care what projection numbers there are now. You don't see a whole lot of, Winnie the Pooh merchandise in our team store, Company D, that, people are, drooling all over. Just saying.
Yep.
The fact that the cast T-shirt with the Bears is only available in medium or smaller because that many of us big folk decided to go grab one or three because we love the show so much. The fact that I stink-eyed my dad and brother when they came back because they saw the Bears and went to Disney World in October. They haven't seen the movie.
Nope.
I don't care what anybody. If I'm wrong, please tweet me or message me or whatever, and I will gladly write a retraction absolving you of your having seen the movie and still disliking it on levels that are valid.
And dare I say that the cameos in the Country Bear movie are right on par with the ones in the Muppets.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, you've got Queen Latifah in there.
Yep.
You've got Elton John.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Brian Setzer, very much in the Dave Grohl role of the Muppets animal.
Yes.
You've got
Don and Bonnie. Yeah.
You've got so many people in here. It's so good. Christopher Walken plays the villain. How do you go wrong with Christopher Walken?
Yeah. And again, Christopher Walken's character, Joan Cusack's character,
Chris Cooper, I want to say.
Chris Cooper's character.
They all want to destroy the theater.
Yep.
Plain and simple. For different reasons, but they all want to destroy the theater. Personal opinion, Christopher Walken's the only one with a good motive.
It's not hard.
The other two are just greedy.
Yeah.
Greedy bankers. Christopher Walken's got a personal motive.
Yeah, that's fair.
But did he have to hit Zeb with a chair? No.
Well, for us wrestling fans, it's all right. It's all good.
I was going to say, he's hardcore. He's hardcore. He's hardcore. Anyways, every time we get off on the wrestling tangents, I kind of get that look from my daughter, like,
It happens.
Can we bring this back to Disney?
I'll bring it back to basic storytelling for you, sweetheart. There are only 7 different stories. Period. End of sentence. There's only 7 different stories throughout the course of time. Every story you've ever heard in your life, in a storybook, in a movie, they all are one of 7 things. And the fact that the Muppets movie is the Country Bears movie is the Very Merry Merry Christmas movie proves that. Same company, Muppet Christmas movie, more or less. Same basic story. But, oh, you can't retell this. You can't. Okay, then you can't, make 20 Batman movies. You can't make a Marvel Cinematic Universe that just will never end because we make so much damn money off it.
Somebody is finally getting exposed to those, by the way.
I heard. We talked about that earlier.
Many. Oh my gosh.
Seriously, by the time I started getting into them, sweetheart, we were Infinity War had already premiered in theaters, and I'm like, oh God.
I've only seen 3 so far.
And she's not even seen them in order.
And after we see the show, I'm probably going to get introduced to more.
I got you, boys. Okay,
and
I got you.
She's not even watching them in order, and she was told that she can skip Iron Man.
Which is what sets
everything up.
We'll talk about that off air in a second here. But anyway, yeah, and I still will always maintain that the people who hate on the songs in this movie, who hate on this movie, who hate on the story, just have not seen it.
Yeah,
and they are the diehard Country Bear Jamboree fans for all the wrong reasons.
Either that or they're just too narrow-minded to see the similarities. And if you like one, you should like the other.
Yeah.
Kind of like if you like WWE, you should like AEW because there's so many similarities. But again, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole.
No, it's just frustrating. And people are robbing themselves of opportunities to hear great songs like this. There's a lot of movies on our list and TV shows on our list that, the folks Natalie's age either are too young to have seen in their prime or they're even younger than her. If you're watching the show younger than the 14-year-old, you might want to have your parents' discretion before you turn this shit on next time. Just saying. Damn. We go mouthy on this channel. But they haven't had the proper education, I'll say, to this yet, and that's what we try to do all month. This, we're finishing out the Disney list. We had the start of the month with the Santa list, which again, you cannot go wrong with those 10 Santas in film and TV. You just can't. And we, as a collective channel, I still get so stupid saying it out loud. The Jeff Meacham Multiversal Media. We all agree that these songs, if you don't hear any of these songs the rest of your life ever again, these 3 shows, the last 3 weeks, including today, go on Spotify, go on YouTube, buy a CD, God forbid.
Yeah. You might have to just go on YouTube because I think that some of these, specifically the Muppets and the Bears ones, aren't even on Spotify.
Right. Well, Spotify, I know they're on Apple Music because when they put you on hold, when you call the company, Apple Music owns everything. Oh my God, the whole. No, don't call the company. Don't call us. We'll call you. We promise. Don't call us.
I know they have Muppet songs on Spotify. I do not think they have any of the Bears.
I'm just not sure if it's. What's so funny is I'm not sure if it's even our Muppets. I'm pretty sure it's the original Muppet movie, which is fine. But yeah. Anyway, now that you guys have had a month, 4 weeks of proper education to the greatest holiday character arguably of all time, and then the best of the best in Disney. What'd you guys think of our list? We ask at the end of every show, what'd you guys think? You've been commenting along with us over on the side of Jay if you've been watching live in prayer, which we appreciate on a Monday because Mondays are tough. It's Monday, right? If you're watching on demand and you're commenting along as you're typing it under Natalie there, we appreciate you guys watching on demand as well. We get encouraged by StreamYard to make sure we talk to the folks that are watching on demand, and we don't do it a whole lot. We mentioned at the end. But if you are watching later, we really do appreciate you guys because that still gets the hours up for this guy, still gets the monetization, more of a possibility. So we thank all of our audience, and it's just day 1 of the week.
Yeah.
We're going to go into a week here that this guy's finishing the year, the month, everything off strong. And then Saturday night, my friends, we'll get there. But Jay, what is on the channel for you this week as far as your holiday movie binge? What can we expect out of the Renegades reviews the rest of this week?
Well, over on Renegades reviews for the next week, we've got...
Oh, look at that.
I mean, if you missed it, go back, watch Miracle on 34th Street, my review
Yes.
of the original classic, which went up yesterday. We've got It Came Upon the Midnight Clear, which is just a favorite in my house. There's
Right.
so many people that have no idea about this movie, and I highly recommend that you guys try to search it out, see if you can find it. Last I checked, it was on YouTube in its entirety for free.
Right.
So see if it's still there. Watch this forgotten gem with Mickey Rooney. We've
Yes.
got a bunch of Muppet stuff coming. We've got Muppet Family Christmas, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. We've got the Christmas toy, which you want to talk about reused ideas.
Right.
There's a lot of parallels between this and Toy Story.
Oh yeah,
We've got-
absolutely.
We've got It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie, which we've referenced a couple times today already. On New Year's Eve, we're going to be taking a look at New Year's Eve with that phenomenal all-star cast. And a new release Saturday that day will be the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Now, why am I waiting until the end of the month to do that one instead of doing it sooner? It is the last entry in Phase 4 of the MCU. What better day to do it than the last day of 2022?
Right.
And then, of course, weekly episodes of The War Zone.
Yes. As of this taping, It Came Upon the Midnight Clear is on YouTube in its entirety.
There you go.
So there you
And
go,
then,
kids.
of course, on New Year's Eve, the Coast to Coast Countdown episode of Open Mic Night,
Yes.
where we will be counting the ball drop from 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific time,
Yes.
11 o'clock Eastern time,
Yep.
across all 4 time zones:
Coast to coast, baby.
Eastern, Central, Mountain, and Pacific.
Now,
We've been promised by James some best of clips to throw into the show.
my best
So
of.
that's going to be a joyous occasion to watch and see all of these moments from the past year of open mic nights. I know I've been messaging him, sending him
Yes.
some suggestions of stuff to throw in there.
Yes. As of now, I don't know if I'm working still because we're pre-taping. So if
Obviously.
I'm not there for the full show or for any of it except like the ball drops, I do apologize in advance if you're watching this on the 26th. It's just one of those, I hope to be there because I haven't worked weekends lately, so we'll see. But I do want to be part of this because it is the end of our year. We've had such a great time on the Casa channel and my channel, and then the next day is the start of year 4. Jesus Christ, for the Jeff Meacham Network. So
we go straight from New Year's Eve show to the Jeff Meacham Network anniversary show.
yeah, I mean, we're like midnight's gonna hit here. It's like, hey, welcome to the year 4, and then we'll sign off and go to bed because we've got some sense left. A little bit left. Just
So there you go. That is what is on the horizon for me on Renegade's Reviews. Of course, if you missed it, go back and rewatch part 1, which aired on December 12th, where we discussed essentially the Walt era of the soundtrack songs. Rewatch last week's episode that basically covered the Dark Ages through the Renaissance, all the way up until the year 2000 and the new millennium.
Yes.
And then, even though it was live and you can no longer super chat, go back and check out the Eve of Christmas Eve special that we did with the Wheel of Carols.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, that definitely was an interesting development to do. Your old man actually sang to some of the public domain Christmas carols along with Jeff, along with Noah Foster, much to his chagrin, along with James Hebert. Such a fun time.
You talk about a cavalcade that we have at Disney every day.
Yeah.
It's quite the cavalcade. The wheel of
To be
misfortune.
fair, though, kiddo, to be fair, people actually had to pay to hear my horrid singing.
This is fair. And
It was a $5 donation, and then we spun the wheel, And whatever song came up that was in the public domain, because
Yes.
we didn't want to get copyright dinged.
Right.
Whatever song came up on the wheel is what we sang. So you may want to go back and check that out too.
Oh, I will. Believe me, for blackmail purposes, but I will watch it.
Christ.
You know what?
Hey,
I don't care.
there,
I don't
whatever.
care what purpose she does it for, because it'll help my view hours go up.
That's right. That's it.
As of this taping, I just hit 3,000.
Oh God, dude. Oh
I
man.
need to get to 4,000 to get monetized.
I love you, 3,000.
So if you guys want to really help me get there, go back, watch old episodes on the Casa channel of Renegade of Wrestling, Dads on Wrestling. Watch the old episodes of Renegade's reviews. Watch Ringside Insanity and After the Bell and Stat Boy Rants. Go back and watch episodes of Open Mic Night.
Hell, watch the pay-per-views. Those will knock out 8 at a time.
Just open up a tab, start a playlist, and go on about your day.
Exactly.
Because I kid you not, it'll take you a good 3 or 4 days to go through all of Renegade's reviews. If you just let it play in the background.
That's right.
Do whatever else you're going to do on your laptop. Go to work, come back. It'll help immensely, you guys, because one of my biggest goals for this year was to be able to be monetized by the year's end. I had 3 major goals this year. Get onto the No DQ review. Checked. Get onto the Jack of all trades with Greg. Didn't happen. Is what it is. Get monetized. Y'all can still make that happen for me so that I accomplish 2 out of my 3 goals.
Exactly.
Let's get there, people. We can do it. I feel like the Jerry Lewis telethon, trying to drive it home there. We can get there if we work together, people.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Call in now.
Meacham, since this is the last time we will be together until the new year.
Yes.
Thank you so much for all the episodes of Dads that we did this year. It has been a blast. Thank you for bringing me into the Open Mic Night fam. I know originally it was just supposed to be you, Noah, and James, and you kind of brought me into the fold. And over time, even though not intended by any means, but over time, you basically let me take the show over.
Yeah, the feel of that show was always organic in nature. Like, it really just spun off of the 3 of us just BSing after whatever pay-per-view, a Turning Point, I think it was. So it's an ever-evolving, ever-growing, thing. If there's an open mic on a Saturday night where the kids, don't have homework or whatever, and we can keep the content within guidelines, they're come in and hang out with us too. Just have the non-alcoholic frosty beverages. It is what it is. I'm always down for anything that will keep the show evolving, and a major part of that show evolving has been you being able to put your fingerprint, your vision on it. And I said this, to my therapist earlier when we were talking. It's like I can't express enough how important it's been to keep the channel going and to keep the shows going in my complete and utter absence, because Talk Wrestling is just done. It hasn't happened. I haven't really been able to make an announcement or anything as of this taping. I probably won't by the time it airs either. But Dad's been able to keep going because we're able to record this show. The shows we did this month. Open Mic Night is after pay-per-views. Pay-per-views have been able to go on without me being there, which I'm so grateful for, because those are 7-8 hour blocks of just content, and that's wonderful. You get view hours, I get the monetizations on my end. So it's been a great, productive year in spite of a lot of adversity and a lot of roadblocks. And I look forward to Sunday and year 4 kicking off, but we gotta get through Saturday Open Mic Night first and try not to have too much of the bubbly, because it is
absolutely
coming.
And that was going to bring me to my other thing, where I was going to congratulate you on finally taking your foot off the gas pedal.
Yes.
Being able to delegate more. I'm editing episodes of Dads now.
Yes.
Like you said, I'm producing Open Mic Night. I'm producing the pay-per-view coverage. Even if I'm not doing commentary on it, I'm still on the headset producing Noah and James and you, if you're able to be there. And You know, the days that you can't do Stat Boy, I'm producing that for you.
Yep.
And
Yep.
just
It's
I've been able to help you keep your channel going, and I know that relinquishing that control is something you never thought about 6 months ago,
no. It
because you're such
talking
a
to
stickler for it has to be my way.
I've one of
So
our
I
key
commend
one,
you for that.
I appreciate that very much. It's, we've been able to have the kids on this year. This is Natalie's first time being on with us. Dylan was on with us a couple different times throughout the course of the year. Like I said, Dylan grew up on the air with us. He's been doing shows since he was, this big. So, it's wonderful to be able to include the families. It's the friggin' thing is we are the dads, not always, on wrestling. But the kids have been so young for so long that it's kind of like, how do we fit them in without looking like we're just a bunch of slubs? Hey, our kids are here and they're cute and they're not going to have an opinion because they don't watch the crap we watch. But here, stuff like this is what gets them involved. This was originally pitched to us, by the way. This was pitched to me. I'm not going to throw him under the bus. He's the one driving the bus. I got thrown under because I deserve it. Damn it! It was supposed to be 2 of each. It was supposed to be Cece and Pop. Supposed to be Mikey and Teresa and Chittens on this show. And Dylan, for whatever reason, is not camera happy anymore. You go back and watch the old stuff, you would be like, what? Because, freaking.
I know he was a ham.
He was a big giant ham. He must have been in Toy Story with Potato Head. But he
turned into the evil Dr. Porkchop.
Yeah, that's fair.
And if you got that reference, you're on the right channel and the right show.
We appreciate you. Yeah, that's right. But it worked out great because we've got, I joke all the time, open mic night being a sausage fest, and we've actually had female perspectives each week during this Disney journey, and that was so cool. So it was a cool, unique kind of thread jump, and I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful for everybody that has watched all year. Stay tuned. Again, JJ mentioned Stat Boy Sports Bar tomorrow. I don't know what my schedule is, so it'll be at 7 or 7:30 Eastern. One of those two. Depends who's producing, because he's got a kid pickup. I've got the House of Mouse to have to contend with. Wednesday, still don't know if Greg and I are going to be back as of this taping, so we'll see how that plays out. Thursday's No DQ review. That's another open forbidden door. You never know who's going to cross with that damn thing. Yeah. But then Friday, man. Friday night, is the last day where there's nothing really live going on. But then Saturday night, man, it's, Elton John said it best, Saturday night's all right. And we're going to have a great New Year's Eve, one way or the other. And we're going to kick off what hopefully will be a better 2023 than 2022 started out as anyway. And
so for those of you that drink, get yourself a glass of the bubbly.
That's it.
For those of you that don't drink, get yourself a bottle of the Martinelli cider. And
yes, Martinelli's.
Have a good one today.
Yeah, because I tell you, there are. I put it, but we're kind of going off in the weeds as we're doing plugs here. I'm getting the word from downstairs elsewhere. We need to wrap this up, so I'm going to go ahead and try to do this really quickly. I am hopeful that the WrestleMania thing can happen after all. And I want to go to Dynamite in a couple weeks, Rampage in a couple weeks. I want to go to the one in San Francisco. That's on my birthday. And I want to go to WrestleMania week. And having this here and having the Disney check also is going to make that possible in very high likelihood. So I can't thank you all at home enough, and I can't thank everybody watching enough that has watched over the last 3 years now. So with that being said, as he do, I'm going to let the Renegade himself wrap it up.
All right. For starters, as we wrap up, Natalie, sweetheart, thank you once again for joining us today. I can see in your eyes how tired you are. Thank you for grinding through this endurance test with us.
And she's hungry on top of this.
So I forewarned you we get long-winded. I wasn't expecting 3 hours long-winded, but I we get long-winded. So thank you for riding through this endurance test. You did an amazing job on the show.
Thank you.
And we appreciate your contributions.
Thank you.
For the Jeff Meacham Network, for the Casa D18 Studios, he is the West Coast Professor Jeff Meacham. I am the Renegade J.J. Williams. She is my lovely daughter, Natalie. And until next time, we will see you guys then.